I believe we are live. Let me double check that everything can be heard. I can definitely hear myself. So, um, good evening, role players. Have you got your game ready to go while we gab? Because this is our last week of Game and Gab for the month. So, I hope that we can make this a fun one. I wanted to make it a little spicy, so today we'll have our usual pretty sights from Baldur's Gate 3 in the background, but we are kicking up the spice a notch with a topic that's becoming more prevalent with each year. Young Earth Creationists in positions of power and their unilateral impositions against the separation of church and state. That's a pretty wordy one, but essentially we're getting more young Earth creationists in uh, uh, positions of power in making unilateral minority movements and imposing policies um, on a public that's usually in favor of a separation of church and state. So, that all said, we still want to keep it in the realm of fantasy role-playing games. So my goal is I'll be asking how we're supposed to differentiate between creationism and fantasy when we take away evidence-based methods like scientific fields typically use. I definitely have my opinions on this one. And you might hear me express them every now and then, but for the most part, um, I am going to be fielding relevant questions at guests and audience members, especially since multitasking is my arch nemesis. So, and we also have some viewers with us who have been wanting to see like how D&D works and things like that. So we'll have plenty of topics to go about. This is just the one that we're starting with today, that may or may not last throughout the stream. We'll see how it goes, but we'll touch on it for sure. Um, if you want to participate and further the conversation, you can click on the Discord link at the top of the live chat to hop on the live stage with me. You might not be able to see it. I've sometimes seen that the poll can cover it up, so I'm going to end the current poll, which we have some interesting answers. A minute. That's weird. Usually it gives me the results. Okay, so you should be able to see at the top of the live chat a message there. Um, so if you want to join me and you are 18 or older, you are welcome to hop up and raise your hand when you join the live stage. I will be able to invite you up when you raise your hand. And that's just when you're ready to speak in voice chat. As long as you are of age, 18 or up, then you can come and go as you please throughout the stream. This one will probably be about 2 hours, but hey, maybe I can go longer. We'll see. Usually, I'm pretty notorious for doing long streams, so uh, you know, I'm not gonna make any promises that this one will be short. Um, but on that note, if there are any games that you would like me to stream, you can suggest them in the comments. Um, if you write them in the comments after the live, I can save it, and if I have the game already, you may see it played during the next Game and Gab session when we go live again. So, that will be every Monday at this time, right around 9 p.m. Central. You can also watch more fantasy role-playing game fun with my weekly tabletop role-playing group, when we stream our Dungeons and Dragons sessions on Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Central, we have 1 to 2 more regular player spots open. Pending, we'll see. At least one. That if someone wants to join our campaign as a regular player, um, you still have an opportunity to join at this time. Or if you want to be a guest player that like kind of cameos every now and then, or you want to play a specific NPC, or just like have a little fun, where you don't want to be like part of the whole session, or you just want to do one specific session where you join the party. It's up to you how involved you want to be. Um, in that case, uh, either way, you would need to be available on Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Central. If you want to be a regular player, you would need to be available pretty much weekly, Thursdays at 8:30 from 8:30 Central to uh, about midnight, I would say, is usually when we call it. You can join our role-playing group, our role-playing game community Discord server. That's our Ready to Roleplay community server right here. Let's see, join RPG right here. That's Ready to Roleplay. Put that in the chat. That's also available in the description. And if you can leave a like to get more people to participate in the conversation, whether you are able to stay for the entire stream or you just want to check in, just leave a like, and we can get more people interested in this conversation and maybe interested in more role play. That would be really fun. Also, you can subscribe to be notified the next time I go live, which I do every Monday and also every Thursday. So, before we introduce the panel, I do want to say hello to all of our guests and audience members here. So we have with us, we have Jester uh, with me. Hi, Jester.
Hello, how are we?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Doing all right.
Awesome. And I also see that we have Andrew joining us.
Oh, hello, hello.
Good to have you. All right, and then I'm gonna go through the chat, see who we've got with us. We have Tilting Windmill with us, Ryan Donovan. Let's see, Kalasia dropped by. Lovely to see you. And I think I see Randall. Yeah, awesome. Oh my goodness, this I did not expect. Hi, Creationist, Dr. Dan. Great to see you. Yeah, so right now we are discussing a bit of both. So I have Baldur's Gate 3 in the background, and we're tying it in, trying to figure out which has more evidence. Fantasy, just genre, usually intended for fiction, um, or Young Earth Creationism. Uh, I think that there's a hearty case for fantasy, and I'll be fielding questions of that sort. We're also inviting any people who want to debunk young Earth creationism, talk about its increasing role in public schools, uh, despite the First Amendment. And like in my case, in my state of Texas, the State Board of Education has members that are Young Earth Creationists, and the last time I checked, the chairman was a Young Earth Creationist. Scary. They are the ones behind like the textbook changes and the whole debacle with the Ten Commandments in, every classroom and everything. Um, just, you know,
Freaking bullshit.
trying to really uh, push out that separation of church and state clause. Just get it out of there. Who needs it, right? So, yeah. So it gets a little, yeah, unfortunately tilting. It gets a little tricky. Oh, and I also see look at the trees with us. Lovely to see ya. So, yeah, if anybody wants to talk about this topic, you are welcome to come up. If you want to talk about another topic, you're also welcome to come up. Just keep in mind that we're doing, topics one at a time. So if there's a topic that's already like underway and you want to address another, we're going to let that original topic, run its course, and then we'll move on to the topic you want to cover. So, oh, and I see we also have Miss Non Sequitur. Lovely to see you.
Yes,
Yay!
my magnificent.
It's so awesome to have you here. How are you doing?
Well, yes, the current topic is my magnificent.
Oh, I see. Got you. That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah, yes.
Um,
Seems like
I
a
also
worthy
Or,
topic.
very,
yeah, I
very.
mean, you know, I'm kind of tired.
No worries. Um, if you need to go to bed at any time, just don't worry about it.
Oh, no, 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 I'm not that kind of tired.
Oh, I
I'm the
see.
kind of tired that means I'm going to be really, really, really silly in the morning.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that kind of tired for shows.
hmm
Punchy is always good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Funny thing is, as heavy as this topic is, which usually I tend not to do spicy political topics as like the main thing for the show. Um,
hmm
I had an exhausting day, and I knew I was going to have an exhausting day, and I did this topic anyway. So I will probably
Mm,
be staying to the more like moderator role, or at least trying to further the discussion with my guests. So. uh, Especially while I'm
I
trying to play Baldur's Gate.
I'm just laughing because I went, okay, I'm going to do everything to not steer this towards the political stuff. I'm going to be a good boy and I'm going to, you know, keep do everything I can to keep this into a fun thing. And you're like, we're going to talk about the political shit. I'm like, oh, okay.
yeah, I mean, how can we really not, though, love? How can we
Politics is
really
life.
not?
Yeah. Especially, it's
I mean,
kind of difficult to like religion is so involved with politics whenever you're going to talk about like modern world stuff, you know,
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
unless you're
I mean,
specifically involving the doctrine.
I
at
just thought
this
it was
time,
funny because it's normally Miss Non Sequitur and I going, okay, and this is how this relates randomly to the politics that and then we're off on that tangent and then we're going, oh, I feel bad though because we're trying to be a safe, happy go to bed stream and
I
not
know
like
that we're so like left. We're like so far left.
Well, so here's the thing, like as yes, my Monday streams are to help people, feel like they can listen and lean back, do something else while they're in the house, or help them go to bed and things like that, which means that it's going to be a general open discussion and like not, a fiery debate sort of thing. But this is also the forum to have these sorts of discussions. Like, I want it to be an open topic sort of thing. Obviously, on some days more than others, I'm able to participate. But the main goal is for me to moderate in this case, where we make
Yeah,
sure that, you know,
you're not an
we're,
arguer.
yeah, I like to keep it educational. So, and
No,
I like
you
to
you
consider
are an
critical thinking.
intellectual,
Oh, I
but
would say
you don't argue.
that. But I mean, yeah, so, Dr. Dan is right. Like, make it political. Literal fascists are trying to turn the US into a Christian nationalist theocracy. I
Yeah,
agree,
we can't be quiet any longer.
um, by the same token, like, obviously, I'm in an area where if, uh, you know, if my opinions were to like, become very public knowledge and tied with what I do as an income, like, yeah, like that could get really messy.
True.
But uh, I'm happy to um, create a space where people can um, at least discuss it for themselves and also foster secular humanism. So I feel like it really shouldn't matter, at least in my opinion, what like where you are on the political spectrum, unless you just straight up don't like humanity, I guess. I'm not sure how to say it, but secular humanism really is something that should be um, promoted no matter what your own like personal religion is or what your um, how you consider like the world around you. Like, if you still want to be part of a community and you still want the benefits of a community, then like I can't see there being a better approach than promoting secular humanism.
As a point of fact here as well, you don't have to be secular to be a secular humanist. Like, you don't have to believe in no gods. The point is that it doesn't matter what else you believe in, as long as you believe in doing good based on
Well,
objective facts.
Fair point.
Mhm. Absolutely. Um, I don't know if I said it already, but I wanted to say hi to Stephen, who is in the audience. Thank you for joining us, Stephen. It's good to see you. Oh, it looks like they're asking to come on up.
Hello, hello,
Thanks for
hello.
joining.
I forgot to unmute. I just wanted to say hi, voice-wise, with much less cumbersome than texting. So thank you for your welcome. Hi, everybody. Nimlendi. Sorry, that's not the proper name. What is it? Oh gosh, that's too long. I'm just
You
going to
can just
call you
go with
Nim.
Andrew. You can just go with that, or just go with Andrew too.
Andrew, right? Okay. I mean, Andrew previously, and Jester. Nice to. I hope I'm saying that like that right, or maybe it's the
Yeah,
French
yeah.
Jester. I'm
I
learning
mean,
French at the moment to try to take my mind off politics.
and here you are.
Well,
but this is fun. This is fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
so the topics are going to come and go. Uh, in this case, it's gonna be we're gonna have a mixture a little bit. Definitely like a little bit of like talking about where um religion meets education and where you can have this this unfortunate conflict of methodology, where how do you determine um, the world around you when you don't have a reliable methodology, and then you know you want to teach what the world is to your kids, like how do you make it so that it's as neutral and evidence-based as possible, but that's not like that's not your goal anymore. Your goal is to, get rid of evidence-based education in order to put your own religion in, And so in that regard, um, how is it any different than adding fantasy into your textbook? If you don't have that methodology anymore, what's the difference? Oh, and I also see we have Mark with us. Lovely to see you, Mark.
Hey, Mark. I find it interesting that right now what they're doing is like
Hmm.
turning away from every value in their book in order to shove what they want down our throats.
'Cause it's always been just interpreted as you go for whatever they need to justify for the moment.
Yeah. And now they're like, Old Testament. We're going to go hard on the Old Testament. And then we're also going to hate Jewish people because reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I was told that the link that I pinned was not working. I have made a new link and pinned it at the top of the chat. Hopefully that should work now. And we should be able to get people joining us. If that one doesn't work, please let me know. Uh, Otherwise, so so I'm going to be fielding questions here. Obviously for the intro, I'm happy to get things started and all that. Once I'm like really playing the game and all that, I'm like struggling to multitask, so you're probably not going to get as many opinions or like really like deep conversations. But where I can, I'll be asking a lot of
What?
questions and furthering the conversation. So, oh, we've got Mark with us, and we just have Dan with us. Awesome. Good to see you all.
Hey, Mark.
If you're trying to speak, we don't hear you, Mark. I know the live
Mark
stage
is
can.
having fun with technology, probably.
Yeah, the live stage always causes problems. If it
It
was
it
something
makes it
like,
fun.
yeah, like it's why I switched for the our ready to role play thing. That's why I just was like, we don't have new people joining us to join the stage, so like screw it. I'll just join. I'll just have us in the main like voice channel, because the live chat has so many issues.
I really need to like focus in on the Lost Squadron and learn so much about it because I find it cool and interesting that it happened on my birthday well in advance of my actual existence, but on my birthday. And then they were discovered in the 90s when I finally existed.
The Lost Squadron. What is this? This is maybe I'm
Uh,
not putting two pieces together.
in 1942, a squadron of 2 B-17 Flying Fortress bombers and 6 P-38 Lightning fighters were forced to land due to bad weather and low fuel in Greenland during World War II, and they were subsequently buried under the ice for decades. This happened July 15th of 1942.
Well, we are having tech issues
And then
for. Um, so yeah, so Dan, I see you in the audience, and I can invite you up. I feel bad because I know that Mark's been quiet. He's not muted, but I can't hear him. So,
There we go. Hi.
hey, lovely to have you. Thanks for joining.
Oh, thank you. This is a super interesting topic, and like I said, creationism plus Baldur's Gate. How could I not join and say hi? This is fantastic.
I always like to throw in a little fantasy fun in there if I can. Yeah, so in this case, since
I'm
we're
here for the
tying it with,
dog.
oh, of course, always. We did invite Scratch, so Scratch will be joining us probably after the next long rest. So
Perfect.
the dog will be here shortly. But yeah, so regarding, fantasy sort of things, who here would say whether there's more evidence for fantasy or young Earth creationism? We'll start with that.
Well, I'm gonna go fantasy. Obviously, I've got so many books compared to their one book.
I was thinking about this while I was listening and trying to join and figure out, and in a non, facetious way, I can never say that word right, in a non-joking way, the answer is fantasy, because for me, if you read, you can't see me on camera, but the bookshelf behind me has just tons of, various fantasy series and sci-fi series behind me, and the what those types of stories tell about, humanity and human emotions and human people and interactions and everything is so much more like real and accurate, right? Than the stories that Young Earth Creationism tells about humanity. Just forget about like the science of it, but just the people and what people are like. There's so much more I don't know how to describe it because this is not my field. Like literature is the opposite of my field, right? But there's just so much more truth about humanity in the collective works of fantasy than there is in like any one specific religious text, right? That's the point I'm trying to get across.
I can see that. Yeah, definitely. So my thought when I was coming up with this title was the idea that whatever, usually the types of verification that an apologist or anyone trying to say that their religious text is reliable, they typically use methods that are like, well, this describes real places. It occasionally uses real, like, historical figures, or historical figures that we can have some identification for via like archaeology, things like that. And I would say that there's whatever methods you use to try and say that these texts are reliable, I think you could apply the same methods to many fantasy stories and many fantasy books. The major difference being that you just know when one was authored and what usually what the intent of the author was, that it was meant to be fiction.
And the funny thing with that is that that's not all that different from like the Book of Mormon, for example. Because that wasn't 2,000 years ago. That was less than 200 years ago. We know who wrote that. We know why they wrote it. We know their history. And yet it is a religion rather than a fantasy story.
Mm-hmm. That is honestly
Like,
after seeing the claims made in the Book of Mormon, and as I'm reading them, I'm like, these are just claims that you can just observe like today and see that they're not true.
yeah, you can't see me, but as I said that, I was shrugging animatedly of like I don't know what to make of that. And even more recently, like Scientology, same deal. What's the difference between Scientology and a science fiction novel? People started taking it seriously. For what reason? I don't know. But here we are.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is probably the biggest contention for anyone to say. It's like, well, you can't say that fantasy, can be compared to religious texts because uh, fantasy was written as fiction. Well, tell that to the Scientologists because I'm pretty sure that the books that they base the religion on, and not like I think it was Dianetics or something like that. That one is like a whole, you know, rabbit trail of its own. But as far as like the science fiction parts that saying, all the stuff about souls and Xenu and what have you, I'm I'm like 90% sure it was written like without the intent for it to be nonfiction.
In defense of them, um, in sci-fi, there is the one version of Scientology that is true, and that is Habology. It is in fact a true religion. It is also a grift because Fallout is amazing that way.
How about this? Cough it up!
As the symbol glows, power courses through
I
you.
would say,
Authority.
and you said that there was a version that was true. Did I catch that?
Yeah, in the video game Fallout.
Oh, in the video game Fallout. Gotcha.
There are the Habologists,
Nice.
and there's actual content in the game where you meet an alien race called the Zetans, and their blaster can be received as a reward. So there is in fact some truth to the claim of the video game version of it. It's just also treated as a grift in the game, and
Yeah,
doing the same deal that they do to become clear. You can get an intelligence boost in like Fallout 4. So it's weirdly true but also false at the same time.
Yeah. I guess that's with every lie, the best lies are the ones that have a bit of truth in them.
Yeah, this just makes the game fun, and rather weird.
Oh, and I see we have
So
Math Pig with us. Oh, please go ahead.
no, I'm sorry. I don't want to step on your toes. You're running the show.
I just wanted to greet people who are joining. So I saw Math Pig with us. We also have some talks about the looks like it was talks about the last debate review. If I'm reading
Oh,
that correctly.
Mark's recent debate with a Young Earth Creationist. That was a hoot.
Ooh.
If anyone didn't see that, you should go to Mark's channel and check it out. Mark Reed in the chat.
Yeah,
Whew.
he sure was scrambling towards the
Oh,
end of
I
that
hope
too.
my mic is working now. I really do.
You are.
But,
Yep,
you
We can
are.
hear
it is
you.
working.
wrestle with technology
The man
and one.
himself.
How you doing? Thank you. That was weird. That was downright weird. I don't know what to say about that. I'd love to dive deeper though, Dan. Honestly, because like I said in the chat, I was blasting on methodology and scientific techniques and why we don't consider it even a science, but to go deeper into what he was saying would be hilarious. I really would love that.
I mean, my whole thing, and sorry everyone, I don't mean to hijack this, but Mark did a debate just a few nights ago with a Young Earth Creationist, and it was dual streamed. It was Standing for Truth, if anyone knows him. He hosted, and Mark also streamed on his channel. And I was watching on Mark's channel, but I had to pop into the SFG channel a couple times just to kind of razz them for how bad the Creationist was. And I mean, I was just pointing out every most basic bottom of the barrel talking point he threw out there, and I got bingo. Had to be 5-6 times.
Oh yeah.
It was so bad. So Mark, I'll email you, and we should set up a show to go over it because it was just
sure.
It was so bad.
Yeah. I love this topic. I just want to say that I didn't get it. I was sitting there saying it before, but obviously.
Did anybody else
have
happen to catch it? Because man, what a trip that was.
It was a good one. It was better than Wilson's, that's for sure.
Oh, that was that. I don't want to talk about it. No, that was absolutely disgusting. That was that was somebody that doesn't deserve to have any kind of platform, and whatever. Wow, what a horrible person. And it worries me because I think that extreme right-wing fundamentalists are sort of hijacking, mainstream Christianity by pointing out things that they don't like about it and sort of, getting them into this, well, let's take over the government. It's wild. It's horrible. It's wild. And it's dangerous. It really is dangerous because these people that are fundamentalists, they don't care if you're a Christian. If you suddenly go, no, that's too far, they're going to yell heretic and get out the pitchforks and torches. If you're a Christian and you don't want to, torture people, suddenly you're going to be in the firing line as well. And I think that they're using their prejudices to manipulate them into a position they don't want to be in, and I feel sorry for. Anyway, that's a whole nother story.
That's correct. It's like the new Inquisition, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I
love this topic. I love it. Sorry, go ahead.
I would really like to get a thing with the Bible verse about whoever hurts these little children from Jesus with and then
attention is fixed on a damaged old statue.
Like, hey, you have somebody on the Epstein list in the White House, like the one guy who's known to be there. You elected him president. You're taking away school lunch for children. you might want to watch out for this guy named Jesus.
Reminded me of my faith.
Well, and that's it. And he's the perfect example, isn't he? Using sort of traditional Christian values to further his own agenda while not really caring about those values. So it's the perfect example of a sort of authoritarian using religious values to position himself in a place where until they can't do anything about him anymore. And the German mustache man is another example. The Catholic Church supported him at first, but they found out real quick that he does not have a problem turning on them if they don't like what he's doing anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
He
That's
just got me to watch South Park tonight because so many people have been going over the season 27 premiere, and it's just golden.
So I don't mean to depress the entire chat, by the way. I just come in and say, "Oh, there's an authoritarian killing the world." No, I'm sorry, but it is an amazing topic.
That is what's happening, though. Like, let's be clear-eyed about it, and we can be clear-eyed about it, but also enjoy ourselves with some Baldur's Gate and laughing at the silliness that is creationism. Yeah. We can do both of those things.
Yeah. And I think it's important to reach out. Like most Christians are not creative. I think it's important to reach out to them and get them to understand just how dangerous people like this can be. And Young Earth Creationists. I was thinking of, doing maybe a video on counter enlightenment, because that's really what it is, right? The enlightenment being, hey, we can't find God as a reason for things anymore. There's a counter enlightenment out of there coming out where they want to find God as the reason for everything, which is just, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. So I really would like to do something on that. But this has an obvious answer for me, right? Does fantasy or Young Earth creation have more evidence? I think that's not the question. I think the real problem is that Young Earth creationism has so much evidence against it, and fantasy has no evidence. Like if you said, "Hey, we're in a multiverse, and these fantasy lands are out there in the multiverse somewhere, somewhere beyond our local presentation of the universe," for instance, there's no evidence against that. But there's a lot of evidence against Young Earth creationism, right? There's ice core samples, geology, evolution, biology. There's mitochondrial. There's so much evidence against it that you have to say, well, yeah.
That's a really interesting point. We talk about fantasy versus like the stories that we have in our current society, and I'm sitting here I just got today sitting on my desk right now that I'm really excited to start tomorrow is this book by Brandon Sanderson, and it's his most recent novel in this sprawling fantasy universe called the Cosmir. And for those of you who are into fantasy and don't read the Cosmir, check it out. Start with Misbornne or The Way of Kings, just like get into it. And the really interesting thing about how Sanderson structures his fantasy novels is he really like pioneered this concept of hard fantasy as a parallel to like really hard sci-fi like The Martian, where the science has to work. And in the fantasy version of that, the magic it's not really so much magic as it is just additional physics that occurs in whatever universe or on whatever planet each story takes place. And a question that I've kind of thrown around as I've been reading these books, because in this sprawling universe, in chat, if you're familiar with the Cosmir, please say so, because, man, we can nerd out about the Cosmir. But each planet has a distinct magic system, but they're all interrelated in really interesting ways. And something that I've always thought of as just an interesting question is whether if you inhabit a planet, does the particular magic system that you have feel like magic? Or is it just how physics works on that planet, right? And you have different rules in different places. So, on Earth, what do we have that to an outside observer in a hypothetical fantasy universe would feel like magic, right? Whether it's the way music theory works and harmonies and scales and such, right? Like, major chords versus minor chords. Is that magic to somebody who has never experienced it before? I don't know. Is that any more supernatural than the way that in one of the books in the series, certain magic users can absorb colors, and they can either dampen or brighten colors in their immediate surrounding environment as like a source of energy, right? Like, I don't know. It's an interesting kind of just way of thinking about it. And the fact that it's such a hard magic system, that there are defined rules and limitations, makes it much more concrete than, Lord of the Rings, for example, right? And that opens it up to much more interesting interpretations in terms of how would somebody from the outside observing this think of it? Would they consider it magic, or is it just how things work and it's different from how you're used to it?
Well, that sort of has. There was a film that I watched when I was young, and I remember it really. I can't remember the name of it. It was basically a guy with a computer goes into this fantasy land, and he's using computer stuff like it's magic kind of thing, and it's like a battle versus technology and magic. But it seems like to the opponent that all he's doing is using his world's magic, and that kind of really reminds me of it.
Oh, what's the word for that? There's a word for that exact thing. It's so-and-so's rule. It's one of the, oh goodness, I'm going to look it up. It's one of the fantasy authors from the 20th century. The phrase is, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And I can't remember who said it, but that is, it's that.
And so Sanderson, number one, he did the seminal essay on magic in fantasy. It basically his I mean, I'll condense it, and he basically said that magic in fantasy has either got to be very detailed and consistent, or mysterious and not really touched upon at all. It can't be a middle ground where it's sort of partly explained, but not really. It's got to be one or the other. And sort of he was using examples like when you have magic in Lord of the Rings, for instance, it's very mysterious. It's never really explained, and never really, it's very, unknowable kind of thing. The elves use magic. He never really explains how it happens. Gandalf uses magic. He doesn't really explain any of it. It just sort of happens organically. As opposed to like his books where, obviously Misbornne, for instance. I mean, not only is the structure outlined of how it works. And just for a brief summary, Misbornne, you have people drinking metals, and each type of metal will allow you to do different things. Like steel and iron, you can push and pull metallic objects, like magnetism kind of thing. But it even goes into it's a genetic component, because these abilities are passed down from father to son, or father to daughter, and things like that. So there's a whole sort of almost scientific, we can breed these people and get this kind of ability out of them. It's really wild. So it goes into great depth, and part of me thought, oh well, this is going to be terrible because it explains it all. It's not really. It's like a magic show, right? Like stage magic. When you don't know what's going on, it's amazing, and that's sort of one type. But when somebody like Penn and Teller, they explain it all, it's still amazing.
It's still amazing.
Yes.
Right, but what you don't like is when it's partially explained, but not really. And that's when it's annoying, right? So I think exactly the same principle applies. And I think that's what really annoys me about religion. They sort of partially explain it, but not really. And that's what annoys me. When science says, hey, this is not just why it happened, but exactly how it happened, it's satisfying. And when things are mysterious, it's kind of really interesting, and we love to investigate it. But when it's somebody saying, hey, a god did it, but we don't really know how he spoke it, it's like, that is really bloody annoying. That's annoying as hell. And I think the same principle applies. Anyway, that's my take. Sorry.
I get that. And actually that's I've been kind of researching magic systems like that, because I know, like, when I had first started brainstorming ideas for a fantasy world, I think that I'm craving more fantasy books where dragons are like the main character. And so I thought, I'll just write one, whenever I finally can sit down and write. And when I had started, I thought I'll make it high fantasy, I'll go all out, have it, in this faraway place, and not worry too much about the magic until I get there. And then as I'm like exploring it, the more frustrated I am because I want it to be concrete and I want specifically more biology in it because that's,
Yeah.
that was my field. And it got to the point where I was like, all right, I've got to define this like magic system. And I decided I wanted it to be ground as like essentially like what Dan said, like an extra like little layer of physics, using bits of what we already know, although not like I know physics that well. I'm just going based off of what very little I've been able to ascertain. But what I've really been enjoying is deep diving into created evolutionary histories when something is tweaked. So I decided to make it low fantasy. So the difference between high and low fantasy is high is it's like a, a new world that is not related to Earth or anything, whereas low fantasy is it's still technically on Earth, and but it can still have fantasy or whatever. And so it's essentially like Earth, but it's totally transformed. And instead of the history of Earth that we all know and love and hate, the
Uh-oh.
the big point being that it's got that hardcore magic system that also allows a lot of that the aspects of evolution that I really like to mess with and tweak.
Yeah. I think that one of the ones that is a good example of that middle ground is actually Harry Potter, because at the very beginning of that series, it is just very much unexplained. But then as the series goes on, they add all these weird rules, and she sucks at laying things out, so the rules consistently contradict each other in ways that just make you go,
yup.
What am I reading?
That's because when she was creating a lot of her stuff, if you look at a lot of the old, little bit of 70s and 80s stuff, she stole a lot of her work from that.
Yeah, Harry Potter is a textbook example of the in the middle kind of magic system where it tries to have specific rules but then breaks them willy-nilly when convenient, and it ends up making no sense at all. And it just sucks.
Yeah, and then it's really funny then to like I forget what it was, there was a channel I used to watch, like, of theory things, and it was a pair of brothers. I forget what their names are. I just remember them going, "Hey, brother," at the very beginning of it. So sorry, I will not be
brother.
citing that. But you can watch certain of their videos, and I do not remember which ones, because again, a long time ago. Yes, the Carlin Brothers, the Super Carlin Brothers. And they'll reference something in one book, or like reference something in one video, and then they'll reference other things in another video, and you're sitting there and you're like, well, I would normally say that both of these things cannot be true, but this is Harry Potter, and both of these things can be true.
Is that why we find like the Bible so annoying because of the inconsistent magic rules? You know, like you know, God can't
As a
succeed
fantasy
because of
geek, in
iron
part,
shirts.
yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was like the thing that kind of started me down the path, is like me sitting there and going, can somebody explain to me the magic system in this series? Because it
Right.
seems like it's
Yeah.
lying to me.
Yeah, like in the first volume in the Old Testament, he goes into the Garden of Eden and doesn't know where men and Eve are, Adam and Eve are, and goes, where are they? Come out. And then later on, he knows everything about everything. Like, it just seems a little bit inconsistent. This guy's power level fluctuates a little bit, a little bit.
Well, especially
The thing
because
that
in
I
the
find
Yeah,
first
that's what
funny,
threw
though,
me off as a kid.
And what surprise is this?
we must choose a path. I say Vic.
I was just gonna say that especially in the first one, he just creates the the couple in the garden that aren't named at that point, but become Adam and Eve later. He just creates them. Like I don't recall it saying, like, he just said, like, just like any of the creatures, like they would say out of the sea he created, blah blah blah. Out of the land he created blah blah blah. He did that for the humans, but for the second one, obviously his power is like really scaled down, and he has to like form a clay, golem, and then breathe life into the golem. And obviously it's like it's a demonstration of the different, essentially the evolution of the religious ideology, and also of different local ideas. But it's fun to see like the changes in the history throughout the religious texts. But I think the main issue is that people want to take it outside of its historical context and try to apply it in a way as if it is, foundational and immutable and something that we need to follow strictly. And that's when you get into problems.
Yep.
So Vic, why is it that when I have to work and I can't be here for the beginning of the show, you have guests like Mark Reed and Creation Myths and showing off?
Well, this is
I
a
get it. I
first.
get it.
That is pretty awesome. Hello, awesome people, all of you, including Jester. I will deal with you Thursday.
I'll be there.
I was lured on by the amazing subject because that is actually awesome.
What is our
like
our
I said,
subject
same
for
thing for
tonight?
me. This is great. This is fantastic.
What is the subject? I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm not on the YouTube thing. I just happened to see the Discord thing on my way to go get a shower. What's the
does fantasy or young Earth creationism have more evidence?
Ooh, which fantasy?
Take your
I won't
pick, I guess.
but in this case, we're kind of going more D&D, maybe like Tolkien sort of thing. But take your pick.
Well, I guess it also depends on you said religion or creation. Which thing did you say has more?
Young Earth creationism, young
Earth
specifically.
Okay. Well, then I would say Young Earth creationism has far more evidence, but it's all bad and disproves it. If that makes is that what
agree.
I'm?
Well, I mean,
I think that's a fair answer. I mean, not least of which are things like inconsistencies in the supposed historical record. Like Vic was just talking about the two different creation myth stories that begin Genesis, right? The Adam and Eve story, it's told two different times, and they put the newer version before the older version, which is funny. And she specifically mentioned out that, like, it seems as if God goes from this like all powerful, totally does it all out of nothing, is just, you know, Superman, God creator person, to this one that requires having to use materials that are already existent, has like difficulties. And the first one is all about, or rather the later one, the first one, Genesis 1, is all about like how amazingly good God is at everything. He did this thing and saw that it was good. He did that thing and saw that it was good. Over and over and over. God is just awesome, right? Isn't he amazing? Yay, raw God. But in the second one, which is the first one, this is very confusing. Genesis 2, 2, 4.5, something like that. God is much more human, you know, a lot more normal, because it's the early one before they really kind of got their shit together. Oh, wait, I forgot. Is this a live stream where I can say shit all the time?
Are we
Right
past
now.
the mark? Yes, we're past the 15-minute mark.
Yes.
Okay.
No, we're
Good. I wouldn't
no
want to
worries
fucking.
about
Okay, I wouldn't
As
want to
you
fucking
know,
swear too fucking much.
you know, as a fun
Sorry, go on.
exercise, I bet you could come up. The timing of this is really funny because right before this all started, I recorded a short video, and the point of it was basically that there is no coherent model or theoretical framework for creationism. It's all just ad hoc. I'm going to use whatever argument I need at the moment I need it, kind of thing.
Yo.
I bet, and this would be a fun exercise, I bet you could pick a fantasy universe, whether it's, you know, Sanderson's Cosmir or, I don't know, Wheel of Time or First Law, whatever it is, just pick a fantasy universe. I bet you could construct a more coherent case that Earth is part of that universe than you could for Young Earth Creationism. I bet
That's
you
already
could do
been
that.
That's already been done, Dan. I mean, Tolkien had a creation story which is actually way better than the one in the
That's a good
Bible.
point. That's a good point.
You know,
Yeah,
it
that's
had
true.
the Vanya singing creation into, and one of the Vanya decided to sing out of tune, and that's sort of where all the horrible stuff comes from. So it's kind of
That's
a
the
lot more
fall.
coherent. Yeah,
That
kind
explains
of, but
humans.
well, the funny thing is that I can't remember the name of the sort of one high god said, yeah, even though you've done this, it actually falls into my plan anyway. So, you know, joke's on you, kind of thing. So, like, it actually explains the problem of evil better than the Bible does. You know, so
Better
it's
than,
like,
right.
yeah.
Got you right where I want you. You did just what I expected. You thought you could foil my plans, Bond? Sorry.
Exactly.
I think what you said, creation myths. Do I have to call you creation myths? Can I call you?
You can just call me Dan. Just call me Dan.
Okay. All right. It feels so familiar, and to me, you're like this distant person, a little bit on a pedestal. Sorry, I'm working.
I am a rando with a YouTube channel.
Okay,
Aren't we
cool. All right, Rando Dan. I think what you said about it being kind of ad hoc makes a lot of sense. I kind of the more I've gone over the biblical accounts, especially the creation myths, it all seems really like when, you know, like a little kid is playing with a toy with another little kid who's also got a toy, and it's like, well, my guy can shoot lasers, and the other kid's like, oh yeah, well, your lasers don't hurt him because my guy has special armor made of silver and mirrors.
Totally.
You know, like it just seems like the whole book just seems like that. And every time I talk to somebody about their beliefs in the Bible at all, really, it comes down to them just sort of like making this shit up on the fly. So clearly, like the fantasy novel approach is far more well thought out. It's far more considered. It's cohesive. It's going to have like this world setting that's much better put together, unless of course you're J.K. Rowling. And it's just
true.
Yeah, I mean, you can't compete. You've got all these authors who didn't talk to each other, who didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Half of them are just reactionary. Their ideologies, like, well, why are snakes so stupid? Like, oh, well, I'll tell you, because guess what? The first creature to fuck up was a snake, actually. Really? Yeah. Let me tell you about it. Like, it just all sounds so made up.
Yeah. And the worst part is that they've had like 2,000 years to work on it, longer than 2,000 years to work on it, and it's still in this
For
state. You know, you'd
real.
expect something a bit more coherent after that amount of time, but hey.
I mean, it does at least contain the only story that I believe in part might have happened, because Jacob means trickster, and pretty much every single one of his miracles can be explained as a sleight of hand trick. Like, everybody goes, okay, how did these spotted lambs come out of the reeds? And I'm like, because he had like black mark on the black stuff on the reeds, so of course they're going to come out.
Wasn't one of his
different colored
sticks with like black ink on them.
Was it?
It's a sleight of hand trick.
His feet's like lying to get. If I'm thinking of the right one, it was Jacob who like went to the temple and or no, maybe I'm thinking of Daniel. I could be thinking of Daniel, but I remember
Same
one
thing.
of them was like he went to the temple and they were like his little army or whatever, his little group of conquerors needed food, and the temple said in order to come in you need to be like ritually pure and whatever it said in that context. And they're like, have
Was it more
you
penis
done
stuff?
X? It's probably I think it was probably related to like intercourse or something like that. Like, have you abstained or something in the last 3 weeks?
I don't know.
Or
Have you
something like that?
have you chopped off part of your penis? If you've chopped off part of your penis, okay, you can come in. But if not,
Yeah. They're like, we can feed you and you can come near the temple if you stayed ritually pure. Have you? And then he was like, yes. And then they did it. And then that was like that hailed as like a master of tomfoolery and subterfuge.
Now,
cleverness, yeah.
Now you've got me thinking about the Judeo-Christian god as a trickster god, like Loki or something, and I just love that so much. That's fantastic.
It would make a lot of sense. Has anybody read Judges? For crying out loud, that shit's crazy.
Well, actually, I had a point that I used to make on the resurrection of Jesus, and I thought, like, is there anything that story couldn't be explained by having like the Starship Enterprise do it? So, like in Star Trek, they had all these episodes where they used to like go back in time, kind of thing, and they number one, it was cheap on sets, right? Because they could just go back to the 80s, and I like have people walking around like really cheap to do, while just the Star Trek people were in their uniforms and stuff. But if they went back if they went back in time to the ancient Levant, is there any, like, just say they went back there and realized, oh, we've got to make Jesus a thing, like, using replicators for the loaves and fishes, or, changing water into wine, or teleporting somebody out of the tomb, kind of, like, is there anything that could not be accomplished by a Star Trek crew trying to, keep history the way it's supposed to be? And I thought, no. All of that is totally possible, right?
And they don't have the tech with them to do it, so they have to kind of disguise somebody to be Jesus, and that's why they don't recognize him at first. Hey guys, it's me, Jesus. Really? You don't look like Jesus. No, guys, really, it's me. Right? Look, I have these holes in my hands.
Right, that always made me suspicious, because, like, if God was to show a miracle of someone coming back to life, why change their appearance? Like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And, we know there were people that survived crucifixion. They would be rescued by relatives. So was that actually the same person?
Yeah, I think it was an imposter. I think in the same way that like Nero coming back was like a big fear, and somebody actually succeeded in impersonating Nero. and marching an army, thinking that, you know, we're going to march in and we're going to win everything because we got Nero on our side again, and, you know, they got slaughtered. Like, people did it. It had happened. The supposedly resurrected Nero marched and failed. So I'm thinking it's kind of the same thing. Jesus was just like, you know, well, he's gone. What are we going to do? It's like, well, doesn't he have a brother? Doesn't his brother look a lot like him? They got the same nose. Let's see if his brother will do it. Something like that. I don't know. That just seems feasible to me.
So
Well, it
interestingly,
just seems
also,
antithetical to a god that like has unlimited power and wants people to believe that he comes back from the dead, but changes his appearance. I don't understand. I am so confused by that.
Because if you have, this is like a thing in, you know, fantasy stories where you have magic users. If the magic users can do literally anything, it's a boring story, right? Superman
Well,
has
that's
to
true,
have
yeah.
kryptonite.
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite series right now is Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is a lit RPG series. And one of the pitfalls of that genre, where it's like a progression kind of thing where the characters get stronger over time, is that at some point they max out their stats, some cases figuratively and in some cases literally. And at that point it
Yeah.
becomes kind of boring, right? If you max out your stats halfway through a Final Fantasy game, it's easy to traipse through the rest of the game, right? So you have to, for if you look at it as a narrative, and again, I'm speaking well outside my field here, so I want to be clear about that, but my understanding is if you are constructing a narrative, you can explain the inconsistencies as a literary device in terms of preserving the structure of the narrative, the tension of the narrative, right? The kind of how you tell a story, right? So you end up with these inconsistencies. And you can see that in contemporary writing, and however we define contemporary, whether it's modern fiction series like, for example, Wheel of Time, where for all my love for the Wheel of Time series, if anyone's familiar with it, there are striking inconsistencies with the relative strengths of various characters and what they can accomplish at given times. Or if you go back to, for example, the Iliad and the Odyssey, and you look at the inconsistencies of what various Olympian deities can do at different times in those stories, right? There are dark inconsistencies there that tend to be convenient for the narrative at the time that the inconsistencies arise, right? And it seems like it is easy to explain the inconsistencies in the Bible in the same way.
Bad writing? Yeah,
Well,
I think so.
well, the Greeks would more appeal to basically opposing forces between the gods in order to explain away the inconsistencies. Like, you know, Poseidon wants to do X, but Athena pleads with Zeus to not let him, so he can't do it, kind of thing. That's sort of a theme that comes in a lot, is these opposing god forces, so they can kind of say, hey, you know, Poseidon could wash away the walls of Troy at this point, but he can't do it now because the Greeks have this god on their side. So,
right, but then there's all sorts of ad hoc things. Like there was the prophet that there was I forget the two deities involved. It was probably Zeus and Hera in the story, and there was this guy who stumbled upon the two of them arguing because Zeus was cheating on Hera because he was always cheating on Hera, and they had a dispute, and the guy answered in such a way that, you know, Zeus liked the answer, or whatever it was, right? Zeus, you know, agreed with him. I think it was Zeus. And then or maybe it was Hera. One of them agreed with him, and then the other one punished him, and then the other one didn't. They made the god who disagreed blinded him, but then the one who agreed with him, they couldn't undo what the other god did, but they gave him the power of prophecy or whatever, right? And so it was like the power levels were imbalanced in a certain way, basically based on who acted first. Whereas there are other stories that are completely inconsistent with that. Because the point of the story, and I think this is the big idea I'm getting to, the point of the story isn't the factual accuracy of the historicity of the story. The point of the story is the lesson you take away from it. And if you treat the Bible like that, you can basically, I won't say can take away consistent, like, moral or ethical lessons, but you can definitely derive from it a progression of a better understanding, let's say, of, like, how morality and ethics are supposed to work in a society, right? From the Old Testament, where it's very retributive, right? It's all about punishing the wrongdoers and rewarding the right doers. And then you get to the New Testament, and it's much more egalitarian, much more, you know, a live and let live, forgive and forget kind of thing. It's basically showing a more developed understanding of tolerance and humanity. I think it functions similar to how some of those stories in Greek mythology work, but it makes for a frustratingly inconsistent system of power dynamics and magic as you do it, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess I was going to say there's still that thing of sort of opposing gods you just have for anything that, you know, why doesn't God do this? It's like, well, that's the devil doing it. You know, you have still have that out of.
That's a good point.
God can't conflict what the devil's doing, and it's sort of, and that's part of the problem of evil. It's like, well, the devil does all of these horrible things. It's a fallen world, and it's like, but why? I mean,
you forgot free will. You forgot about free will. That's always an excuse. Does anybody know of a novel that doesn't have free will? Because I'm kind of curious if anybody's tried that. Like, we have a fantasy novel where there isn't free will.
Free will.
Well, there's plenty of them.
Stop being blamed for everything. You know,
that's stupid.
Well, any novel with a prophecy in takes away free will.
Yeah, we know from the TV show that Game of Thrones doesn't have free will because of the Hodor time loop. Sorry, spoilers, everybody.
Oh,
you know,
so
we
good.
know,
I love
but that's where it lost me. That's where it totally lost me, because once you do that loop, it means everything's set in stone, and you know, nobody actually has any decision-making power, and that was very frustrating.
Yes.
Did you feel that way about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? Or no, Raiders of the Lost Ark?
No, Raiders is like one of the all-time great movies. Why are we... No.
How is Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Well, it's from the whole fact of...
Everything Indy does is irrelevant. He doesn't have any actual effect on the outcome.
Yeah.
Counterpoint to that. Granting the point, counterpoint. Raiders rocks as hard as any movie has ever rocked.
It is fucking awesome. It is one of the best.
I've got to push back on that, because if Indy didn't do what he did, the Germans would have, they would have opened it anyway, and they all would have been killed. But the next people to come, their faces would have melted. But the next people to come along to get the Ark of the Covenant or whatever would not have been the Americans. It would have been the Germans, because the only way they could trace it was because Indy tracked it. So it makes a really big deal that the Americans got it.
Also,
Indy had one thing that he did in the entire movie that had
correct, basically, yeah. But I don't see how that's.
Wait a minute,
not prophecy either.
He punched. Wait a minute, hang on. I gotta push back on this, because in addition to that one thing, he also punched a lot of Nazis.
That was pretty cool. That's more just for fun. I mean,
let's just appreciate though the moral value.
Right. As a moral edict in Raiders of the Lost Ark is certainly superior.
You could. What I'm saying is, as a moral compass, you could do worse than Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Is what I'm saying.
I'm with you. I agree. I'm with you.
Which honestly, I'm kind of surprised that like half of America recently has been like, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm not so sure if I'm with Indiana Jones on this one.
Yeah, they're on the face melters side, which is
really, Are you just saying that because of the?
I think it's just 30% of America is Nazis now. That's what's
okay. That's what you're saying.
If you want to hear something truly horrifying, in that Wilson debate, he basically said, "Oh, I think in Star Wars the Empire were the good guys. Do you disagree?" And I'm like, "Hell yes, I disagree."
I have heard this argument.
And he's like,
God.
no, I will debate you on whether the Empire or the Rebels were the good guys. And it's like,
They
can we
bring
just have
order and
Alderaan?
justice.
Alderaan?
Right.
Do they though?
Right,
Is
Alderaan,
it
genocide.
justice?
Look,
Yeah,
it is not.
absolutely.
It is not for us to question the ways of the Sith Lord. Okay, like his ways are different from ours.
Well, actually, we got left-handed Jedi here. What is your intake, left-handed Jedi?
Yay!
Yeah, left-handed Jedi. I really want to hear what Jedi's got to say because holy crap! Like, I'm sorry, didn't the Sith murder a whole bunch of young religious people, like children?
Yes. Not
how
the
is this good?
It was Anakin specifically murdered a
Okay.
bunch of
Yes,
children.
but
Yeah.
he was ordered
purpose,
to do
though.
so. He was ordered
It was
to do so.
Yeah, just
He was following
orders.
the commands.
Oh, he was just following
right.
orders? Oh, let me go back to 1945 and see how that excuse worked out. Yeah, okay.
Divine command theory.
Yeah, where have I heard that one before?
Oof. Big oof. Yeah, that was wild. And it's like, you just remember, and plus, you have the extreme racism of the Empire.
Oh,
like they
man.
don't, like, think about it. All of their
Human-centric.
hierarchy, there's no aliens among them, any aliens. Like,
No.
it's so rare to find.
They got a lot of complaints.
Lore. All of the lore in like the novels and stuff. Sorry, motorcycles. All of the lore in the novels. If you read a lot of the novels before Disney took over the Enterprise, that was a consistent theme that they iterated on multiple times. That over and over and over, humans are central. Humans are the most important species in the universe.
They are superior. Yes.
Super bigoted. It was deliberately modeled that way on the whole Nazi regime concept.
Right.
So yeah, they built on that.
Disney brought that out, though. Like, specifically, remember the imagery?
Well, they're called stormtroopers.
Yeah, stormtroopers.
I mean, yeah.
Right, they're literally the SS.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
I forgot about that very obvious one.
Anytime, if anybody is confused about Star Wars at all, anytime you hear the phrase the Empire, just mentally do a Control F and replace that with space Nazis. And you're good.
Yeah.
The Reich.
Sorry,
It's
Victor, what
not
were you
the Empire, it's the Reich. What's up, Vic?
Oh,
Vic was trying to get something.
I was thinking, so you had said that until Disney took over the Enterprise, and I would argue that they still tried to keep that motif, especially, like, I recall the biggest imagery in the first movie. This is the first one that is episode 7.
A New Hope? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Episode 4.5? What? I don't know.
The Force Awakens? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, The Force Awakens. Yeah.
Yeah, and that in that one, if you recall, it had that actor, the redheaded actor. I've seen him in a couple other stuff, and I never memorized his name. Doing essentially a Hitler speech to a bunch of stormtroopers, and it was like like Third Reich, set up the same sort of banners, the like.
Oh yeah, it was like the Nuremberg imagery. Yeah.
I feel like I've miscommunicated. Grand Moff was awesome. No, I feel like I've miscommunicated something. When I mentioned that until Disney came along, I wasn't trying to imply that Disney was whitewashing away that concept. What I was trying to say is that the books, the canon that had developed until they came along, had all these elements. The thing is that Disney, when they took over the Enterprise, said, yeah, all those novelizations you've got, the hundreds and hundreds of books that have been written by dozens and dozens of authors of great talent and lots of interesting
which are
interconnections,
awesome.
Which are wonderful books because there's this great resource. There's for anybody who works writing those series, they have this resource called the Holocron that allowed them to make sure they were staying within canon and not contradicting each other. It was a really awesome enterprise. And Disney's like, oh yeah, we don't want any of that. No, don't just ignore that. They just wiped out like huge amounts of lore just because they took over and they wanted to make up their own shit. So I found that frustrating, and so
I don't know how much it has been, like, I don't know to what extent, but I do know that they do keep diving back into it. That expanded like universe bit.
Right.
So I know that they're very firm on not doing midichlorians, but on the like old expanded universe
As they
thing.
should. Do not do
Thank
midichlorians.
God.
Oh, I hated the prequels.
They have their charm.
Yeah.
Like
they have their. You know what? The prequels have their charm, and I am a
Jar Jar Binks.
Don't get me started on Jar Jar Binks, okay?
Oh, look,
Other than Jar Jar Binks.
but Jar Jar Binks gave us one of the best theories that has ever graced the internet.
I want Jar Jar Binks to be the Sith. A Jar Jar Binks as the mule is like, yes, do it.
Yeah, I'm all aboard Darth Jar Jar. I'm all aboard.
Yep,
I'm
in.
100% on board.
Mark, I'm with you.
The best
use for Jar Jar is as a benchmark to say this is the worst kind of insult you can give somebody, calling them a Jar Jar Binks of some sort. It just
no. I'm with
if
Mark.
Darth
Episodes
Jar Jar
1
is
and 2
true,
were set up for Jar Jar to be the Sith. Yeah.
If Darth Jar Jar is true, then it is the most amazing subterfuge that has ever existed in any film. It would be insanely great.
No, in fairness, it would be a direct ripoff of the Mule from the Foundation series by Asimov. But it would be the second greatest subterfuge. It's
what were you saying, Jester? What was you were saying something? I'm sorry. Go on, Jester.
I push back only. It should not be Darth Jar Jar. The better name is Darth Binksius.
That's fair.
That'll work.
I want the imagery in your head of Jar Jar Binks with a giant pacifier in his mouth.
Okay, that reminds me of Discworld, where like Death's horse is called
that's
Binky,
perfect.
you know, and it's just so unexpected.
I was thinking, Mark. I was thinking of Discworld as we were talking about that. That's so, folks. This is a perfect time for me to say goodnight. This has been delightful. Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you.
Always a pleasure, Dan. All right, hit me up on email, Dan. Take care, buddy.
Yeah, I will. All right, later.
Thank you, Dan.
Have
It was
a great
nice
night.
to talk with you.
Yeah, I like that. Darth Binkius is just so good.
I also continuously imagine that the pacifier was stuck there by Qui-Gon because he wouldn't stop doing the tongue thing.
So I don't know if everybody's familiar with it in the chat, like the whole thing of Darth Jar Jar, or Darth Binkius as we're now calling it. So the entire theory goes that that Palpatine wasn't the actual Sith Lord. The Sith Lord was in fact Jar Jar Binks. And like there's a really good essay, I think it's up on Reddit, that goes through all of the things that Jar Jar was involved with that kind of lend to the idea of, hey, he did a lot that helped the Empire come about. And there's things like, when he's stumbling about and, just accidentally kills all these droids with a blaster kind of thing that's wrapped around his leg, he could be using the Force. And he could be like making it seem like an accident, but in fact, he's like orchestrating all of this stuff. So it is this wild theory that just, I don't know, it's just something you want to be true, that would be so much better than just he's a bumbling idiot, that he's a secret Sith Lord that is using this persona of an idiot to actually get his way kind of thing.
So Jar Jar, the drunken master Sith.
Yes. Right,
like
exactly.
He seems to be like a complete fuck dumping around.
And imagine if like at the end of the new ones, which I didn't watch the third one. Imagine if it wasn't Darth Sidious in that chair and instead it was Jar Jar Binks. That would have been perfect, like perfect.
Technically,
who's
third
Steven?
one.
Do I know
Steven
He's
has
asking
been
for
hanging
voice?
around us. Oh, did you want back up? Come on up, Steven.
Didn't know if I should
Steven.
approve it, Steven, or not.
Hello.
I don't know.
We have an Ember down there too.
There is an Ember down there.
Oh my
Ember.
goodness. Hi, Ember.
Ember?
Wait,
If you want to
Vic
come up,
doesn't
Ember,
get a lot of
I'm not
people,
sure
but
if
she
she
gets
wants
the
to come.
high class people up in here.
This is true.
Really?
And me.
Oh, well, shit, I better go then. Hold on.
Hold on. I was talking about you. I'm the low class person here.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I am Australian. It's very hard to be high class and, be Australian.
I mean, any affiliation with Ken Ham.
The bar is
Oh, come on. That's a low blow, sir. That's not
Yeah,
right.
that's a low blow.
That's no. You.
We
back
got to
off.
own that. We've got to own that. That's he came
no,
from
look,
there.
I've
to
disowned.
be fair,
I've disowned that man. I've disowned
You cannot.
him. Right?
No, he came from this land.
Divorce.
no,
must-
to be
we
fair,
must
he
accept our
talks more like an American now. He not his accent, but in his thinking and his demeanor, he is generally very American evangelical. So we should own some of that too. We're
Look,
part of the
okay,
problem.
I will pay that. I will pay that. If the Kiwis have to own Ray Comfort, we've got to own Ken Ham. All right. So
We didn't know that
will
about
pay
him.
Wait, Ray Comfort is Kiwi? My
Oh,
God.
that's a tragedy.
He's from
That's
New Zealand.
horrendous.
Yeah.
Oh, he should
Yeah,
no. He should be stripped of his New Zealander status.
That makes,
Oh, look,
that
I'm right
actually
there
makes
with
me
you.
want
I'm
to-
right there with you.
I don't know what it is about you, like between Aussies and New Zealanders, about like Aussies hate being called Kiwis, and I get it, because like,
No, it's
there's
the other
a
way
whole thing,
around.
No, that's not us.
Yeah.
No,
But,
it's
like-
that way. It's because Kiwis are substandard. They're just, they're like Australians, but not good enough to be Australian. Look, there's this thing, right? I just recently saw this thing on like, Australians and New Zealanders give each other so much crap, like sibling rivalry kind of thing. But one
Right,
of the things
yeah.
was how to behave in Australia, and they said don't go to Australia and hassle New Zealanders because literally every Australian will turn on you. It's like that thing of we're allowed to hassle them, but don't you dare talk bad
Don't you
about
do not touch my
our
little
New
brother.
Zealander brothers. Yeah, exactly. Like we'll hassle them, but don't you dare talk bad about me. And I thought that is exactly right. Like if somebody from America said, "Oh, a New Zealander's a terrible people," I would like you shut up. Like, don't you dare talk bad about my New Zealand brothers. Like it's so hilarious. It's fantastic. I love them.
So how would you feel if I tried to insult Ken Ham by calling him a Kiwi?
Oh, go for it. No, don't call him a Kiwi.
No,
No, call him a monster.
How dare you?
He's
Look,
not-
he's
How dare you?
like in defense, he is from
It's all the
Queensland,
Kiwis.
which is like the Florida of Australia. Like the Gold Coast is basically the Florida of Australia. So
mean-
Oh, that's so
Ray-
harsh.
That is harsh. Yeah.
but true.
Ray-
But true.
Ray is in one of those categories of people who's going to like fundamentally change how people view words. Like Trump, he's gonna make it to where when you play a Trump card, everyone is gonna be laughing at it. It's not gonna be a winning card. It's gonna be like the losing card, betting on the river and things like that. Ray Comfort is going to make us think of like a ray of darkness or like like comfort. Someone's going to say, yes, comfort. And you're going to go and just like cringe in pain.
There'll be those
somebody
moments
has
where people
offered to throw a glass at you.
there'll be those moments where people will say the word comfort and you go, wait a minute, Ray or like Southern? And like, no, Southern comfort. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. You
Fruit
can
and
say.
joy.
All right, look, I gotta go get a shower, folks. But I'm so glad I got a chance to bother you with my silliness.
Yeah.
I will talk
Glad
to you
you're
all
getting a
later.
shower.
Maybe you'll still. I got to go inside the Planet Fitness and go take it. So leave me alone, Chester. I will bother you Thursday.
Go ahead.
Anyway,
See you Thursday then.
Have a nice night, kids.
Yep.
I don't
See
know.
ya.
You too, Fern.
And welcome to the
I
state,
dread-
Denver.
if that's what a comfort means, I dread to think of what a Hoven's going to be. Like, seriously.
Oof. Yes.
I don't know. I don't think
Yeah.
I could ever get that way with the word comfort. I mean, I don't think he's that big enough. Like,
Yeah, well
you know.
said. Wow.
Yeah.
Goodness.
So, like,
Yeah, let's minimize these doofuses.
like, I didn't think of the association of like Trump with the word Trump until he became president, in which case, and this is like even after my family would watch like The Apprentice and Celebrity Apprentice and all that. Like, it's not like he wasn't well known in my life. It's just I didn't care enough to make that association.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't bother me. But
Well, that's because he was
think-
honestly. Oh, sorry, Vic.
no, please go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's because for many, many years up until he got elected, and this is why I kind of brushed him off at the time, because I actually did predict prior to the even the primaries happened that it was going to be Hillary and Trump up against each other in that election cycle. But it was basically the fact that he was the punchline of all our jokes. He was just kind of cast away as this joke. And if you actually look at a lot of the 90s and like late 80s, early 90s movies in America, most of our villains, and you can actually ask the writers and stuff and directors who did these films, that they actually modeled their villain character after him and his family.
Wow.
Yeah, of course.
That's wild. Wow.
Yeah, but you're not alone. Even like I remember a video of Jon Stewart saying, he's just a joke. There's no way he's going to win. Nobody, thought that people would actually take it seriously. How wrong we were, but it's strange. It's very, very strange that
it is. Yeah.
Nobody sort of saw it coming. And you're not alone. I honestly thought he had no chance, because who would do that?
Yeah. Well,
What's
that's why I
eerie
kind of feel
is-
bad for my vote that year.
What's eerie to me is that apparently I hear the same was said about Hitler. Nobody took him seriously. They all thought he was a fool and a buffoon, and how wrong they were. Yeah.
Well, it's often said that Hitler got voted in, and that's not entirely true. It's kind of misleading, because he got it voted in as the head of the National Socialist National Party. Basically, he didn't get voted in. Bismarck, in fact, gave him the chancellorship as sort of a sort of let's share power because this is destroying Germany kind of thing. So. The general population didn't really vote him in, but definitely he was voted in as the head of the party. And then they found out that totalitarians don't really necessarily reward those who have supported them, or they reward them with, death.
Yes.
Just seeing what Amber wrote about announcing his initial campaign on Comedy Central, his own Comedy Central roast. Literal clown. Well said. You're not able to talk, Amber. Obviously, I can see you're muted. Anyway.
Well, that's a self-mute.
Yeah, that's why I typed, because I can't use a headset because my ears are fucked, so I have to listen to y'all on a big old speaker, and so I have to stay muted unless I have to talk.
Gotcha.
Oh, I got you.
She's here though.
Oh, I gotta go soon.
That's awesome.
It's good to have you here.
I came in to riff a bit on Star Wars. Like Star Wars has tormented me since since it got all muppety in Rick and Morty terms. That's it. But a couple of things that didn't get raised that seemed like low-hanging fruit. The famously George Lucas intended that the evil empire was meant to be was representing America, and that the rebels were Vietnam, because of course this happened at the I think it was just after the Vietnam War. Star Wars came out in 77. When did Vietnam? I think America pulled out was it 76 or 75? Remember anyway. And then the other thing was with that all that stuff about
So we got
Christo nationalists going for Nazis. It actually makes sense. It makes sense that Germany, hugely Catholic country, are fine with Nazism because that's the Bible teaches us that genocide is okay sometimes. God can command genocide. So yeah, it was fine for Christian nations to go out and decimate indigenous populations and so forth and so on. It just makes sense to the Christian mind, to the crazy fundamentalist Christian that obviously Wilson is.
I wouldn't say that they were fine with that. I mean, most of the German population didn't know about the Holocaust until the war was over.
Right.
They hid that shit
Yes.
very well. However,
Right, yeah, true,
they fancied themselves the third reincarnation of the Roman Empire, which was all about conquest.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, the Holy Roman Empire was to Germany in the sort of medieval going on Renaissance times. There was a construct called the Holy Roman Empire, and it was basically Germany. So they had a history of that. So yeah, and it's interesting that the empire in the stories, and especially in the books, like they would destroy anybody with any technology they couldn't control. And I use the example of the Kaminoans. If you're unaware of who Kamino is, they're the prequels. They were the white-skinned, very long-necked who did the cloning. Right? They originally cloned the clone troopers for the Republic. Now, obviously, that was being played by Palpatine or Darth Sidious to create a force in which he could take over the Republic, basically. So, he was really behind it all. But once the Empire came to power, they went in and destroyed all the Kaminoans. In fact, I think in the books only like one survives, kind of thing. So they genocided all of them to stop anybody from having their cloning technology. And they're basically written about in the books and sort of alluded to in the prequels as they're more just a bunch of doctors, right? They just like medical stuff, they like biology, and they're really not any kind of fighting force or rebellious force. They're just a bunch of doctors. I like Kaminoans. I once played a Star Wars role-playing game, and I played a Kamino, and it's one of my favorite characters.
So good.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I do it myself, but
fun fact, they're based off of the what's the one that ends on the mountain? He makes a mashed potato mountain midway through the movie.
Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind? Yeah.
Yes, Close Encounters. That's what he based the Kaminoans off of, was that one.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. The one that comes out of the spaceship at the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's also making me think of the Robot Chicken bit about, I think it must be a Kamino in Jedi Master. was kind of
There was a
high.
Jedi Master that was coming on, yeah.
and then ends up hiding in the kitchen and order whatever order it was. It order 66. It was
66, yeah.
goes through and he's just kind of like chickens out his way through surviving as a
blame him.
fugitive in the Empire.
Yeah.
All right, I bust everybody out. Yay!
Congrats.
Huzzah!
Huzzah.
I won at poker. That's like never happens.
Oh wow! Congrats. I only played poker on Red Dead Redemption.
That's what I'm playing.
Yeah.
I was doing the gambling challenges. Now I have the gambling challenge that I'm going to call impossible because I have to win 3 dominoes rounds.
It's not worth it. The gambling set is not worth it. It's okay. I like the bandit set. Yeah, the bandit clothing set or whatever it is, reinforced set. Much cooler.
I also suck at being a bandit. I'm
too early in my campaign at the moment. I haven't been able to trigger it.
Arthur is just I don't know. Like if you start the bandit stuff,
yeah,
like right away you can do it. I'm almost all the way through the game now.
Yeah.
I can't be a bad guy now. I should have.
No,
done
I've gotten past that.
but...
I can. I don't like being a bad guy, but sometimes I'm in the mood for it. So I can't blow it. No, I shouldn't talk about it. I'm sounding like a Trump fan.
All right, I'm gonna take off, everybody. Easier. I got some stuff to do, but yeah, it was really cool to talk to all of you. It was really awesome. So thank you so much.
Thanks for joining. And
good meeting us, hello, Aussie.
You're always welcome to join us every Monday at my time. It's 9 p.m. Central, but whatever your time is.
Is that Eastern time?
Central time.
No.
It's
Central.
1 hour short of Eastern.
Okay, gotcha. All right, no worries. See ya.
Say bye.
All right, have a great night.
It is an ungodly hour.
Oh, good.
You know, that's why I miss it. Eastern is too godly of an hour. Too many of the states in here are like in Eastern time here are just horrible. Granted, Central has Texas, which makes it the most godly of the
Yeah, but there's a twist because they also have the ACA, so.
And also, we have Austin, Texas, which is where everybody goes if you're a secular humanist.
Yeah, that's always like the weird thing to me is like, all right, where do you go if you want to live as an atheist, especially a secular humanist? Austin. Oh, where's that? Texas. Why in the fuck would you go to Texas?
Because that's where we need to affect change.
Wow, that's courageous.
Floundering here.
The
courageously though.
Like it. It's just so gerrymandered there.
It's so gerrymandered. In fact, the closest that we got to ever electing a Democratic majority was when Beto O'Rourke was campaigning as governor. It was crazy close. If it hadn't been gerrymandered and like if the districts were, done neutrally so that none were favored, the Democrats would have won. Obviously, the conspiracy theorists like to say that it's because he wanted to put a ban on assault rifles, and apparently that's just too much. It's like they're gonna take your guns, and it's like, dude, like we have the worst mass shootings here.
You don't need guns, especially as war weapons.
Yeah.
And really, they don't even make the argument anymore about, well, we need them for hunting. When's the last time you actually heard that argument?
No, I mean, that's ridiculous. Yeah, absolutely. They're clearly not manufacturing the AR-15s for hunting, crying out loud.
Unless you want Swiss cheese venison.
I would be one of the few people who's going to push that I would use an AR-15 for hunting because
Like
I am
bear?
What?
Oh, okay, because you're left-handed. Okay.
Yeah, I'm left-handed, so all you have to do is change the receiver out. You don't have to do a whole bunch and get a special custom-built gun. So,
Well, and
but
see,
most hunters are not grabbing their AR-15 for that. It's also not going to turn it into Swiss cheese because it's not by default an assault rifle. It's
yeah.
Right, you need to
Still,
put a
it's very
bump
easy to
stock
put a
on
bump
it or
stock.
something.
Yeah, it's very easy to get a bump stock on it, and there's no bump stock ban. But
there really needs to be, but
I
Yeah, it's
would
insane.
totally be for putting like making it so that any personal gun that you want to own would have to be locked up at a licensed gun range, and then it could only be used at that gun range, and you wouldn't be able to take it home because we've seen that when you keep a gun at home, that it's more likely to cause accidental deaths or have a robbery turned on you than to actually be helpful.
So what I
Need anything else?
going back.
Of course.
I'm just saying
but
that it would
please,
be,
remember,
if you want to do it for
you're not the only
sport,
one in
which,
need.
you know, I don't mind if you want to do a shooting sport, then, you know, it needs to be, like, locked at the gun range.
And what I'm hearing from you is that we should follow the full Second Amendment, not just a little part we like.
A well-regulated militia.
Well-regulated militia, yeah.
Yeah.
Well-regulated militia.
Interestingly enough, that was one of my things. Is I'm like, I think that you should have to put in like, I think it was like 10 hours a month at a range. Like in the UK, the rules, like it's not like a full ban on owning swords and guns. You have to be a part of a registered sporting club, and you have to go to that club. You have to be on their attendance roll and showing as present. If you fall off of those rolls, then somebody's gonna come reassess your right to, you know, hold on to that, and they're gonna say, hey, you're not actually part of these clubs right now, and you know, what's going on, buddy?
I like that. Good way to put it. What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, but I mean, it's also not like they like fully take your gun. They just like go, okay, we're gonna come hold on to this, and you're gonna like start showing up the attendance at the club, and once you show that you've done so many weeks of it, yeah, you come claim your item again. It's nowhere near as hostile as they think. It's just
I got family over there.
like if you really want to see like the Matt Easton channel, that man wades through a room full of blades, and he'll just throughout his videos pull all these different weapons up the floor. But that's what he does for a living, is he instructs people in fencing, or well, not fencing, but HEMA, and he buys and sells swords.
What's the name again? I think I might have seen this guy, or at least I've seen one guy who does these fencing videos.
Matt Easton?
I'm not sure if that's it. I don't remember that name.
Let me.
It tends to put a lot of shorts up, the guy that I see. Cool, really cool fencing shorts.
The channel is Scola Gladiatoria.
No, I think that's different from the one that I was.
So I mean, there's a lot of them. So, but like when you're watching his videos, he's just like you can kind of see in some of the videos that he's standing very weirdly, and he'll just always be pulling the weapon that he's talking about from like right at his feet, and then he'll apologize a lot that, sorry if I'm doing things funny, there's a lot of swords. And it's like, there's a reason they call it falling on your sword.
I don't know. That feels like a little bit of a non sequitur.
I mean, I just always wonder when he's doing his videos, or when I've watched his videos in the past. One day, you're gonna trip.
Well, no, that's actually, you know what's funny, I think, about with regard to Star Wars is how ridiculous that whole concept of lightsaber is. Like how many potential Jedis cut their legs off accidentally and this kind of thing. Oh my god.
I just can't imagine ever doing that without like at least scraping myself with it.
I mean,
like,
yeah, you just
maneuver.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, there is the training lightsaber that just burns you instead of.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah, so much better. It just electrocutes you. That's all.
Well, I mean, it is kind of one of my favorite things. That my favorite series was the Jedi Apprentice novels. There's 18 plus a few special edition ones, and it's about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. And in the first one, Obi-Wan doesn't even have a lightsaber because he's like basically being kicked out of the Jedi because he's reaching the age where you can no longer be chosen master.
You can no longer what?
Be chosen as an apprentice.
Okay.
So, hey, we've got this soul coin, right? Thing is,
but
interesting.
Yeah, like throughout it,
engine can anyway.
one of the
Thariel used to tip me
hurdles
off
that
every now and
Obi-Wan
again
has
if he
to
wanted me to go after an
overcome
especially wicked target.
is that he doesn't actually have a weapon. He just has a toy weapon, essentially.
Oh,
It can deflect blaster
Next time we find
bolts,
ourselves
so
toe to
it's
toe with
not
something we want to squash, drop a coin in.
worthless,
See what
and it
happens.
can like it's got the blocking capabilities, but
Fuck
he
yes.
can't
Now I
attack
just
you
need someone to
back
sink
with
my
it
teeth
and do
into.
anything other than, oh, here's a light
What
sun.
can I do you for?
oh my gosh, so wrong. That's not cool.
How would you all feel about animated traps for the dungeons?
About
Animated traps?
Yeah, like instead of just putting the token kind of thing there to show where it is,
That
it
sounds,
actually,
yeah, that sounds inventive. Yeah, I like it.
because that would
Like,
be easy enough for me to do in 2D Blender.
up to you. Depends on how much work you want to give yourself.
Think you could stand back a ways, pal?
Well, it's also learning factor too, because then I can learn more and get more associated with using the different things. And it'll just up my skill in it.
He has all the toys. All of them.
I have this laptop. But this is it. I wish
Well,
I had all the toys. I wish I had a nice studio and everything for my stuff. Nope. I have a room. The same room
I
I
was
sleep in.
talking about on why can't I think the map one? Owlbear.
Oh, Owlbear? Yeah.
Yes, you have all of the toys on Owlbear.
There's some nice, interesting stuff on there, as I've gotten more used to it.
I had a feeling
That's
you'd be
enough.
back.
So where else are we going with the topic?
Well,
Nick, our moderator?
Canada.
So
Canada, yes.
Here is our next topic. I guess for someone who is new to D&D, what are the first like most important things that you think that you should learn when you're trying to learn how D&D works?
Basic math.
Math? Oh my god. Funny.
Basic math. Just add up the numbers.
That
Like I
was
said,
so
I wasn't
funny.
used to that with you guys actually giving me the full numbers. I'm used to being like, they give me the base roll and I have to do all the rest of the math.
You know, I
Okay.
would also say if you're getting into it,
Oh, you cut out.
go practice. I would practice doing like a ton of word problems, not just the math. Do the word problems where you have to pull the math out of the word problem, because that is going to come in handy.
Yeah, true. Vic did get the one little trap figured out pretty quick.
Yes. I mean, not that
Are
I
you
Granted, that was
actually
a
opened it,
really
but
simple leveled one, but
Are you thinking of dungeon mastering or just playing?
oh,
well,
I run our
right
game
now.
on Thursday night.
Yep.
No, sorry, I was meaning Vic.
No, so
sorry.
we have some people joining us tonight who are new to D&D, and they said that they're still trying to figure things out and how it works. And you know, I promised that we would talk about you know, we'd touch on a topic that goes into how D&D works and what it's like playing and what have you. And you know, aside from just being there when we're doing our sessions, you know, Maybe there's some like behind the scenes stuff that they'd like to know to get a better idea of how things work.
Well, I guess then on that too, I would throw in the factor of now it all depends on your dungeon master how they tend to run their games. But even for example with last week's game, you can kind of look through and watch that, where the entire party was death shit scared of just some rats, and they were just mulling about eating. So the first like half of the event, night was them kind of like slowly walking through when all they had to do was just kind of walk past the rats. The rats weren't going to attack
I
them.
was trying.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning this the other day. Just gold. That's some gold right there.
I commented on it several times too. I was like, so the rats are not doing anything, and you finally straight up said they're just not hostile. If you ignore them, they're not going to attack you. And then the centipede came into it, and that was the straw. Is just someone's like, nope, too many legs, and then we're in a fight with all of it. And I'm just like,
it also didn't
Hey,
help.
I did
that-
not attack first. All right.
I
Well,
know
yeah,
you didn't. It was
It also didn't
Fern,
help
but
that for that one. Yeah, you just kind of like walked around the corner and hugged the corner of the wall and like almost stepped right into him. That was basically what triggered that whole thing. If you'd have just kind of
I
walked
know.
through the middle of the room, it'd have been fine.
Oh.
There were some more, creatures that would have been more aggressive later on, but you triggered that early, so I was like, well, and by the time we got through stuff, I was just like, well, we're getting close to the end. Let's just kind of go towards the next point in this.
You've been a
I've
friend to us.
never been in such an enclosed space in D&D and gone, boy, I sure wish somebody would cast Fireball right now. We would be in much better shape if somebody would just cast Fireball in this enclosed room.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
thank you. Thankfully, no
Oh.
one was at the level to have that yet, so I
Oh,
couldn't even be tempted with it.
also, and I was going to
handing out
go over
scrolls.
this. It was asked, what like minimum distance on casting a spell is. The minimum distance to cast Fireball is 15 feet away from your closest or from the ally closest to where you will lay down said Fireball. Because Fireball does not discriminate.
Alas.
Very inclusive spell. Very inclusive.
Yes, it is the grand nullifier.
Unlike in, say, Elden Ring.
Yeah, that's a lot of video game logic, though. Like, it becomes like they had to remove chain lightning from I think it was a Fallout game. No, but they had to remove chain lightning from a video game because you did a lot of battles.
God, I used to love that spell when I was 20.
In amongst, friendlies, like NPCs that had, like, villagers, and then you go and suddenly chain lightning is killing all the villagers and your karma is tanking. And you're sitting there looking at it and Well, I guess my good guy over. I'm going to go delete this character.
So great.
So another rule of thumb too is basically a lot of times you're proposed with things you deal with in a normal day-to-day life type situations and how you're gonna react to those. So as long as you can just react to things, most of the time
Yes.
D&D will come pretty simple.
Improv.
Improv is
Yeah.
definitely a good one.
Tilting, if you can think of any specific situations where where you didn't understand what was going on, I'm happy to like describe any to you, anything that would help clarify.
Was it you didn't understand when we were doing things? Or
They said that they couldn't follow, and I asked them, what would help. So sadly, the only thing would be describe what you're doing and why as you play. That would probably slow you all down way too much. And
I mean, you want to do that though. You do need to describe what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like a
so
good example for this. Or sorry, you can keep going.
I was just saying that for the whole thing is shit. I forgot that did that. I didn't mean to do that. I went to go for the book first. Ugh.
Rest in peace. By the way, shout out to Dave of the Captive Desk, here to take us all captive to the desk.
Okay. Yeah, so Tilting said like why things were added to a 20 die. So sometimes the rules like state how much a particular attack will be or something like that. Usually if you're going to do a roll, it's going to be based off of a d20. That's like your basic neutral die. Almost everything goes off of a d20. That's why usually when you see someone talking about tabletop roleplay games, there's usually a d20 involved. When you would add something to a d20, that would be your stat modifier. So when you create your character, you can do a system that determines what your stats will be. So we did like a point buy, and Baldur's Gate actually also does a point buy. So I'll show you the character sheet on Baldur's Gate here. And we'll go over to, let's go over to proficiencies. So for these stats here, I was able to do a point buy where the lowest stat number that you can start with is 8. And the highest, you could technically go up to 17, but it's not going to help you because you only get modifiers from it when it's an even number. So 10, if you have a stat of 10 in any particular ability score, that means that you're average at it. You don't get any modifier. It's you don't add anything to your d20 roll. Well, so you're limited by how much you can when you create your character, because it's about character progression. So you can't just create your character, where you're maxed out on anything, because the point buy means that you have a limited number of points to assign to your character. The way that I could show it on Baldur's Gate would be to let's see. I've got plenty of coins, so
Well,
it's
and
not gonna be a big deal.
another example I can kind of give for DMing for years and having new players come in, like especially if they've never played role-playing games, and I want to have this magical armor, and I want to be able to fly, and I want to be able to teleport here and blast these things and do all this fancy stuff. And it's like, yeah, that would be great. What's your 20th level? But if I give you all that stuff right now here in the beginning, really, how fun is that going to make it? Because it isn't like a video game when you're just trying to beat it. It's the progression and the story that's behind it. And that's like I'll tell a lot of these players, it's more, it means more to you when you've actually earned something and you have a story behind it to tell. Oh yeah, I got this sword from this dungeon. We fought all these creatures to get it. I almost died, X number of times, and all this other stuff that went on. Compared to, yeah, I started with this +5 Holy Avenger, and I can slash anything down that stands in front of me, and it becomes really no fun. Pretty much, you'd have a lot of games that would end within
Pretty much
probably about 10
all
sessions.
pretty much all games are reliant upon progression, because starting off with
evil.
Overpowered god mode, there's no challenge to it. There's no there's nothing to overcome. There's no journey. In our particular case, it's not just the leveling progression that we want. We want a narrative progression. We are focusing on narrative, and we're focusing on character development, as in the writing portion of it. We want our characters to learn and grow and become fleshed out and not be 2D cardboard characters. So I'll show you. I'm sure that a lot of your questions are more like system questions. And so I'm going to show you using Baldur's Gate here, how it works. Now, this is just the way that I'm doing it has it going through like a respec option because I've already started the game. But when you start the game, you would go this way. It kind of looked like this. You would choose whichever class you want. Now, because Baldur's Gate is a video game and not a tabletop role-playing game, it does a lot of the calculations for you, and a lot of the system is set in stone. You don't have to work with a dungeon master to figure out, how the system is going to work. So like the questions about the roles and everything, those are like system questions. So let's start with this. So let's say that I want to create a bard. All right. So I'm starting with the bard class. The bard class, you can start with 2 cantrips at level 1. You pick your cantrips. Cantrips are spells that you can cast without it costing you any spell slots, which you can only gain once per long rest. And a long rest is usually once per day sort of thing. That's like you're doing like an 8-hour sleep, so it's a once per day sort of thing. So when I have these cantrips, they may be lower powered than the ones that are like my full-on spells, but they are free and they're helpful. So usually you want stuff that has utility, and also you want at least one damage one, especially if you're a spellcaster. So in this case, this bard is a spellcaster, and so she can use vicious mockery to cause 1 to 4 damage. So that's 1d4. That's a die that has 4 sides. And when I cast it, I would roll a d4, and if the creature fails their save roll, so they would save using whatever like their wisdom stat is, they would roll a d20, then plus their wisdom modifier on top of it. And if they fail the save, then they take the full amount of damage that I rolled between 1 to 4, and it would have a disadvantage on its next attack roll. So next time it rolls to see whether it hits something, it rolls 2 d20s and takes the lower result. When they succeed the wisdom save, their number is higher than the set like dice check that whatever character spellcaster you are. If that number is higher than the dice check, then usually it depends on the spell, but usually they take like half damage based off of what your roll is. So if I roll the max amount of damage in this case, which is a 4, but they have a successful wisdom save, then they would take half the damage. So that'd be 2 damage. And I'm not sure in this case if they would still take the disadvantage part. It doesn't say in this case, but you can see here it describes like what disadvantages. It makes you less likely to succeed. Roll 2 dice and use lower value. It's negated by advantage. So if you get like an advantage on whatever, then you just roll straight. You don't have disadvantage or advantage. An attack roll. It's a dice roll that determines whether an attack hits a target. The attack succeeds if the roll matches or exceeds the target's armor class. A saving throw. So there are different types of saving throws. Usually they're based off of a specific stat that's usually determined by the spell description or the scenario that's going on. So in this case, for this spell, it's a wisdom saving throw. So you would use your d20, you would roll it, then you'd take your result and add your wisdom modifier. And we'll go into like how the ability scores work in just a minute. So for the saving throw here, the target rolls against the attacker's difficulty class. If the roll is equal to or higher than the difficulty class, the target resists the effects of the attack. So in my case, my difficulty class is -1 for wisdom. Seems. But yeah, and so then there are different types of like what you can do in a round. So if you're in combat, you have resources that you can use while you're in combat. You can make an action, a standard action, and you can make a bonus action. And your spell description will tell you whether it uses an action, a bonus action, or both. And you can also make a movement. So you usually, based off of your race or species, you set how far you can move in one turn. The excuse me, the default is 30 feet, I believe. So most people can only move in 30 feet in one turn.
In one move. But yeah.
Uh,
Just because you can take your standard action to make a move.
yeah, that's true. So let's see if there's anything else that goes
So
to...
a full round
we've
move
got...
where you'd basically be running that entire time, it'd be 60 feet.
Yes. So here's another bit that goes over. Some spells require concentration. Let's see if it pulls up. Here we go. Concentration. The caster needs to focus on maintaining the spell. They can only cast one concentration spell at a time, and their concentration might be broken when they take damage. Let's see here. Here are the basic spells that, if you're a spellcaster, you would have these. These spells take up your resources that can only be renewed once per long rest. So, like, usually once per day.
Or if you're a warlock.
They use
Hey, I found a way to break it too. You mix warlock and sorcerer, and you never run out of spells if you're clever enough.
Yeah. Well, it requires some advanced knowledge of the game, but
Nah.
And then you get your bard rogue so that you have proficiency in every.
Are you saying to multi-class like 4 different classes?
No. Because
it's enough.
Like you're just looking for each person to be a specialist in something.
Oh, you mean to grab a companion who's a bard rogue? Got you.
Yeah. So like, you have your wizard sorceress, your bard rogue, and I'll leave somebody to come up with the other 2 because
Tank heals.
Yeah, I'm not great. Well, actually no. Ranger. Honestly, Ranger with anything is a great build for a tank. They are. My goodness, they are beasts.
Oh, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the quick primer, I guess, on how the basic game works while I've got this up, because I did have to pay 100 gold to do this, so I want to do this one time and then have it recorded, and then maybe, I don't know, create a little super clip of it all. So once I finish this, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the stream because I'm getting tired. But so for these spells, they take up resources called spell slots. You early on, you are given, like at level 1, you have level 1 spell slots, and usually you're given, like, I'm trying to remember. I think it depends on the class, but
3 to
at
4.
level 1 you get 3 to 4. And you also have to choose, like, first when you're creating your character.
The class.
No, don't worry about it, Tilting. Like, I'm saying that because I want to do it like one time and not have to redo it, but like I've got like 3,000 gold already, so 100 gold isn't gonna hurt me. But I did want to have it all done in like one go. So the way that the spell slots work is, as you level up, you can not only get more slots, you get like higher powered spells.
Ember would also like it to be known that you can get 3 long rests per day.
Yeah.
If you're sleepy enough.
Just have,
let's see.
Yes. And it's worth noting, no matter what system you are running, if you like a map, if you like a module, but you don't want to run it in the system that you have found it in, you can modify it. There are tools, there are tricks, there are people who have already done the work in many cases who have just been like, oh yeah, this was a great story, but we wanted to run this D&D campaign in Path, so we did it.
Yeah, so right now I'm, basically going through what you're going to see when you're typically playing D&D. There are different editions of D&D that have like updated through the years. We are using a combination with mostly 5th edition, and a little bit of like a smattering of some other edition where it fits for for our purposes of the campaign, because we do want to focus on narrative more so than just finagling all of the you know more um like insular rules and what have you. So the basics that you'll find uh, in every D&D game includes the resources that you tend to share, which is the action, the spell slots, the bonus action, and your movement that you can do in a turn. And when you are creating your character, usually if it's like a spellcaster, you select however many spells are allotted for that level in their spell class. Sometimes you can get little bonuses, feats, backgrounds, things like that that can make it so you can pull like a spell here and there from a different class's spell list. But that's like situational, depends on, whatever.
Yeah, your character build.
Are there any good, reliable sites where a complete newbie might gain some quick, basic understanding that you'd all suggest?
Don't go to Beyond. Don't go to D&D Beyond. Do not. Do not.
Well, so, as far as like basics, honestly, it's not that big of a deal. Like, you're not really bothering us, especially because it is such a new campaign and it is meant for newbies. Like, I'm a complete newbie. I know as much as I know because I've played Baldur's Gate 3. And Baldur's Gate 3 is based off of 5th edition 2024 with a lot of modification to make it fit for a single player video game. For example, like I can switch out my prepared spells whenever I want, as long as it's outside of combat, whereas in a tabletop game, you can only switch out your prepared spells once per long rest. So you can have like a spell book with all of these learned spells, but if you like actually want to use them in combat, you can only use like, depending on your class, like say you can have 6 total prepared spells. And you have to choose in your spell list that you have learned after you've created your character. You have to choose 6 spells out of that spell list that you want to have access to when you are in combat. So what I'll do, Tilting, is I'll look for a website that goes over the basics. It'll probably go over a lot of what I've told you today, but you might get a more thorough, like in context guide. And so, you know, for this one, I'm just kind of going by what it looks like for the character creation in Baldur's Gate, so you can get a nice visual here. But stick until, like, check this stream after it's ended. I'm gonna pin in the comment section a website that will have the basics to like that you would need to learn to like see how the game works and things like that. But when you're watching us, really the biggest thing that you would need to like follow along is like what's going on in the moment, like who's speaking and like which character they're controlling, what where are they on the map, you know, like in the owlbear, like whose token is whose, so you can see like who's controlling, you know, whatever. What does like this token mean on the map? What are we now in combat? You know, things like that. And usually you're able to pick up on it if you're like there at near the beginning of the session. If you're like towards the end of the session, you may not get the context of what's going on. It'll be more confusing. But you know, if you're able to swing by at 8:30 p.m., I imagine because we're like in the heart of a dungeon, we'll probably be getting into combat pretty early on in the session, if you know, if not within the first like 30 minutes. And in this case, so you can see like when you go through character creation, I think is probably like the most intensive part of playing D&D, because there's when you don't have a video game that can just like calculate it for you and tell you immediately like, okay, select 4 of the spells of this limited list. Okay, now out of these many points, assign them to whatever you want, and then you just like read the descriptions that they provide. You know, it can get really confusing, but that's what your DM is for. Your DM helps you navigate all the pitfalls.
We try.
So, when I first started on Thursday, the screen was all black. Interesting. Okay. I'll have to take a look at that.
Well, when I played it back, it looked fine.
Yeah, I know that every now and then it would like when I would tab, it would struggle to update the images.
Yeah.
Fortunately, even though it was full of rats, it was not a rubber.
Yeah. Yes, no rubber rooms.
I was mostly laughing that nobody even acknowledged me sitting there and is there danger? Are the rats being dangerous? I'm sitting there and is this room made of rubber? I
don't get
if
what the
this room
point
is
is.
made of rubber.
I'm sorry.
Have you not heard that?
I don't know
crazy
what it's
once.
referring to. I'm sorry.
I was crazy once. They put me in a room full of rats. The rats drove me crazy. Something like that. And then a rubber room full of rats. The rats drove me crazy. I was crazy once. It just keeps going.
Huh. Okay. I guess
Unless you're... That might be what you're referring to, tilting. was the fog of war, because it only showed them the one initial room that they're in instead of the rest of the dungeon area of this level.
Yeah,
That might have been
fog of
what
war.
you're referring to. Like, I can see the whole thing, but
It's just all black. At every point, there was still at least like a tiny little square of room when I first started.
if that's what you're referring to.
Like you could still see our characters in the middle of the screen, but
I
in
hope you
any case,
could.
next session, if
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
if there are any problems with our stream and you can't see anything, give me a shout out in the live chat if you can show up this Thursday. But yeah, so I'll just finish it up. You got the level spell slots and everything, and it goes through. You get higher spell slots. You get more of them to expend before a long rest as you level up. The bard gets to choose the starting instrument. I went with the lyre. There's no difference between them. The only difference is what it sounds like or whatever you carry. And here's where the like ability points is the I think probably maybe the most mathy part. So the base number for whenever you're doing point buy, which is in this case, so point buy, the max points that you can spend are 27 points. When you take like all of this back to like you can also assign bonuses, so you get a +1 bonus and a +2 bonus, and you can assign those wherever you want on top of the 27 ability points. And then you go through each one that you need. Usually you have 2 stats that you don't care about. Those are called the dump stats. You usually keep those low. And then you go with the other stats that you really need. So in my case, because I'm a bard, I usually need my dexterity to be pretty high. Constitution, you always want that relatively high.
Yeah, if you can.
Intelligence isn't really necessary for the bard because their spellcasting doesn't use intelligence. Charisma is where all of their stuff comes from. So, and you can get a little description of each one. You can see through here, charisma, force of personality, improves spellcasting for bards, paladins, sorcerers, and warlocks, influences traders' prices. The higher your charisma scores, the more likely you are to be able to persuade someone or to deceive them. You know, whoever has a high charisma score, they tend to be the face of your party. They're going to be interacting with NPCs the most because they can make conversations go the way that you want more often. Wisdom is like senses and intuitions. This is spellcasting for clerics, druids, and rangers. Wisdom is usually like survival. Usually the proficiencies tend to go towards I have a cleric that uses wisdom, and I can't remember all the proficiencies that she's got. But it did manage to give her quite a few skills. So your ability points also go towards skills. And in my case, I went with 16 charisma, went with 14 dexterity, 14 constitution, and then I think I put more dexterity, right? I'm vaguely trying to recall. I know I had an 8 in strength. Yeah, you can't go beyond 17 unless. Yeah, no, your highest is 17, it looks like. Boy, I'm kind of struggling to remember how I did it, the bard setup before.
With
Let's see, it's 8 strength, 16 dexterity, right? They did 13 constitution. I don't know why they did that. Oh, because they wanted to put more in charisma, that's why. And then they did 10 intelligence and 10 wisdom. 8, 16.
So bringing up the bard thing, that reminds me of that one little thing I posted on. I think I posted on both my roleplay thing and in the Ready to Roleplay thing or channel, where the party goes down and they see this big demon lord, and the demon lord addresses them right away. "Hello, lover." And they all look at the bard because most of the time bards are notorious for seducing everything and sleeping with them. But no, it was actually
Right.
the cleric. Well, I wasn't always a cleric, guys. I told you this.
That's great. I love it.
I thought it was pretty funny, so I was like, I gotta post this one.
It's cute. I want more shit like that.
Yeah, it was very funny.
That immediately makes me think of I with the preacher or the reverend. Especially like if you go and watch the Serenity movie, he all of a sudden just like grabs a gun and starts wrecking the house, but all his shots are non-kill shots because he's a reverend now, and everybody's just like staring at him. And he goes like, "I told you I wasn't always a." And
Man,
just
you need a new mic.
walked off.
This is bad.
I think it's the stage. I don't have this issue.
But it only happens like when we're in voice chat, and only happens to you. Didn't it happen during Thursday's session while we were in the event voice channel?
Well, test something.
Oh, no worries, Tilting. I was able to get it, but it kind of doesn't matter because I think I can just go back and undo it all. But the what you saw was the starting like when I pulled up the ability point screen just a minute ago. That's what it had it as the default. But I wanted a specific score. Specifically, I want them all even, pretty much. You sometimes can sacrifice a score and get like your primary stat. So in my case, charisma, to 17, so that when you do your ability score increase, you can automatically push it over to 18. But in this case, all the ability scores, like either you do a feat or an ability score improvement in 5e 2024. You can't like do both. So if I choose the ability score improvement, it gives me 2 anyway. So why would I want it to have 17? It would just get bumped up to 19, which is, it only gives me the effect of an 18 because you only get a modifier from even numbers, not from odd. So
Why we're bringing back the feats.
in this particular case, I don't think it would be useful to have it bumped up to 17. I would want to keep it at 16. I would also want dexterity at 16. Constitution I usually want at 14. Strength is not necessary. Yeah, so tilting, that's what I was saying. That was the default. That was the stats that it automatically sets you to when you create a bard. But I wanted to customize it so that it's optimal for the play style that I'm going to do. So, you know, you still usually like will want your primary stat at 16, and then Constitution you almost always want at 14. And then the rest is whatever based on what kind of play style you do. Yeah, no, don't worry about that. That was the default setting that it went on. So I've got the guide here that I used that originally put it at what I wanted. So it's 8 strength, 16 dexterity because I'm gonna make this a bard thief, or a thief bard. 13. They put 13 constitution so that they could get 17 charisma, but I just don't think that's going to be useful for this type of system. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it as it is here. And keeping it even though I don't need intelligence and wisdom for what I tend to do, this just makes it so that I don't have a negative modifier. Because if I took it down to either 9 or 8, I would get a -1 to all rolls that involve intelligence and wisdom. I don't want unnecessary negatives because I can't, you know, I can only go up to 17 for all these. So I've got all my ability points assigned here. I used all 27, and usually like the higher the point goes, the higher the ability score, the more points it uses. So like you can see here with the charisma, out of 16, if I took off one little blip, you can see I went from 27 to 25 points. That's because at a certain point, I think it's after 15. Yeah, it looks like it's after 15. It costs 2 ability points to assign it to get the 16 stat. Tilt. Cool. I don't mind that. Yeah, so that's kind of the like quick and dirty ability points. It's not comprehensive. I'll find a guide that kind of goes through it. But this is all stuff that you would really only care about if you're making a character. What's important from these ability points is that it tells you what your modifier is going to be whenever you roll that d20 for any particular roll. So because I put my dexterity at 16, I now have a +3 to dexterity checks because if you remember, 10 means that you're like average at everything. So you don't have anything rolling against you or anything rolling for you. 10 is your neutral point. You have a 0 modifier. You get a +1 to every even point. So every 2 points, if I go from 10 to 12, I now get a +1 to my constitution checks here. To any other check I would use that on. And when I go higher from 12 to 14, now I get a +2. But you can see if I went from 12 to 13, I still only have a +1 because it's not an even number. I need to, every even number past 10 gives me a modifier. And there's nothing to put up with. This is, I love doing this. You know, this is stuff that I had to learn, and I learned it through, I learned a little bit through watching a playthrough. I think my first tabletop introduction was through Critical Role, but my actual like hands-on experience was through Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate did a lot for me. So I still needed a lot of help when I was creating my character for the actual tabletop campaign. So these are all my ability points signed with the bonuses applied. And then when I continue, now this is where the modifiers affect what you can do a skill proficiency in. Usually the proficiencies that you have access to, like applying a proficiencies to, it's usually determined by your class, your background. Am I missing anything? Can race determine your skill proficiency? Skill proficiencies?
Yes.
I think it's only class and background.
No, well, they might have changed it in 2024. But because I don't know if that, yeah, because I think Fern pointed it out that they took away
You're
perception
not just
from
talking
elves.
about. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, I thought you
Well,
just
because
meant
like
the
elves have always
ability
just
score.
kind of they've always given elves, because they're keen ears and eyesight. They've given them a bonus to perception, and usually either it's a bonus depending on the edition, and proficiency in the later editions.
Gotcha. So Baldur's Gate keeps it very simple. They didn't want to complicate it because they want people to be able to just like get going when they start a game. Since you can't consult a DM. I mean, you can try and Google things, but if you have any specific questions, But I think it's been very helpful that you can inspect, so you can hit the button to inspect anything, and it will give you a full like definition of any particular checks or any particular like words or phrases used in, so like in this case for the athletics, like at first point, it tells you -1 to athletics checks. And you're like, what's an athletics check? Well, you can hit the inspect button and it tells you what a skill check is. And so like whenever you use a skill check tests whether it succeeds. It's based on your chance. It's based on chance. So whatever you rolled a d20, chance. Your ability modifier. So depending on what kind of check it is, your modifier in that ability can be added, or if you have less than 10 on that ability, it can subtract from the roll. Your proficiency, which is stuff that you can assign based off of the choices you're given from the class and background. And there's also the checks difficulty class. So usually, I think that honestly, I can't remember what determines the difficulty class. It's usually just kind of written down in the guide. But so in this case, I've got quite a bit open to me. Even though I know that stealth and like sleight of hand could go higher, or stealth acrobatics can go higher. It's not open to me to add a proficiency to them. I think that's just because right now it's just going based off of my class. And I don't know, maybe I can't provide the proficiency based on the class, but so you can see here because my strength was an 8, that means I have a -1. So athletics being a strength-based skill is a -1 to athletics checks. I'm a bard. I'm not going to be doing a lot of athletics. So I don't mind giving that role over to the tank. I am a thief bard, so I want my sleight of hand to be pretty good. But we do want to double check what else we have. So Arcana, recognize magic, interact with enchanted items, history, remember the past of the world and its people, investigation, analyze clues, solve mysteries, nature, recognize plants and animals. I love the description in here, hug trees. I've never actually hugged a tree in Baldur's Gate. I would like to see if that's possible. Religion, recognize deities, understand holy rites, animal handling, influence animals, pet all of the dogs. Insight, read people and situations, detect lies. Medicine, recognize symptoms, diagnose diseases. Perception, honestly, perception is just always so useful, really. But in this case, observe your environment, spot hidden details. And then like survival, track prey, notice things that are buried or hidden in the dirt. Yeah, so I tend to keep, if my character is going to be the face, I always want persuasion. Depending on who your character is, maybe you also want a proficiency in deception. Usually, I'm not the type to deceive, but in this case, my character probably will be more deceptive than usual characters that I make. She does need insight. I think I can get sleight of hand from a background. Oh, and yeah, because I think my background is set. Wait, if I'm not mistaken, I think I can't change my background. Which would be strange because what if you change your class? Anyway, I'm going to see if I exit out, if it goes back to what it was before. Let's just see what happens. What am I? I'm still level 3. Yep, and there are my scores. Let's look at my proficiencies. So in this case, my proficiency bonus is just whenever I'm like proficient in a skill that I've chosen. Usually the basic proficiency starts off as like +2. It usually starts at +2, right? I think everybody went to sleep. But in any case.
Well, that's why my headphone was up. That's why. No, I was here.
Okay.
Yes, but it scales up as level. Once you hit, I think level 5, it goes to +3, and then every so many levels, it just bumps up to a maximum of +6.
Yes.
And
yeah.
I guess that the other thing I did say, but I personally like to take athletics, like with my rogue. Like he won't have a lot of strength, but I'll take like especially like if you ever go to Moss, you'll meet him. But for
Are
Val,
you maybe thinking of
or Val,
acrobatics?
what? No, athletics. because
Really?
I wouldn't have strength. I wouldn't have the strength score to boost it up, but I would take proficiency and then I'd take expertise. So then my bonus from from your normal bonus, that +2 doubles. So it become +4, and it make up for not having the strength. But then I could basically be like the Assassin's Creed type style. I could climb things, jump, and so I'd have all a nice mix of, skills.
Okay, well, maybe that's good for a tabletop campaign. I will say that in
Yeah,
Baldur's Gate, it relegates almost all of that to acrobatics. Anything that's like you jumping around, anything where you're moving your body, that's acrobatics. Anything where you're moving something else that's like really heavy, that's athletics.
well, that's why. Like I'll do it interchangeable. Like for example, like last game, the nice move that Andelin did, springing over the oil and stuff. I allowed that to kind of be more acrobatic because it wasn't like a full-on jump, but it was more like a quick move jump, a spring jump.
I
So I
would
allowed that to
say
be
that
acrobatics.
it makes sense if, as long as it's you moving your body, I think that should be acrobatics.
Well,
I mean, I am designing her
it's
to be more acrobatic than athletic as well.
yeah, and that's why it comes down also to like, Jester, you made a really good description of how you did it, so then it was also easier to be like, yep, that definitely is going to fall under acrobatics for this one because it's not like, again, if it was a long distance jump, then it's going to be athletics.
Yep.
Unless you really set up something really, like I sprang off this, I use this pole to just myself up and throw it further, and all this other little things give it into it, or grabbed a rope and swung across as it. You might have to make, maybe, depending. But yeah, if you set it up right, then I allow various skills to be interchanged here and there. Same as like sometimes the ability modifier used for that given skill can be interchanged.
Yeah, she's. I was gonna have her as, I think it was School of Dance.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying that. All right. Well,
And
I have. Go ahead.
Then you will have to deal with that meme of me consistently saying that I dance like a kitty cat.
Oh no, really?
You know it's all about the memes.
Oh no.
I gotta make sure I get that
every,
gift. So I can pop it up
like,
whenever that happens. Dance, 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 dance.
oh no. I don't mind, like, once in every 5 years, but like multiple times, I don't know about that. Especially multiple times a day. Anyway.
I don't know if it would be multiple times a day.
Okay, well, if it's every session, still, that's too much.
See.
But yeah, so I extended this to go like way too long. Honestly, I didn't mean for it to go this long. I really wanted to wrap up an hour ago. So, and it's all my fault because I'm a chatterbox. But I hope that that opens some basics to you that made it a little bit more approachable. And what I'll do is, like I said, I will pin a comment with a link. Yeah, no, I'm happy to. I'm as long as it's helpful. I would be really sad if it was just like me rambling and like it didn't help at all. And it's like, I should have just ended the show and not, not rambled for an hour for no reason. Uh, so as long as it's helpful. But yeah, so I'll look for something that goes over the basics that aren't reliant upon like a specific edition. It should just do like bare bones basics that usually apply to every edition for D&D. Keep in mind that there are all types of tabletop role-playing games out there. So sometimes, if you want to play like a specific story, and you don't like any like D&D system, some people want it like way more minimalist, or sometimes they want it way more like customizable. Which I don't know how more, customizable you can get, but hey,
You can. Well, and there's a lot of other various systems too. I mean, could run a modern type style campaign, could run a futuristic style campaign. There's other games, systems. There's even Mutants and Masterminds, which I enjoy. That's where you play superheroes.
Oh, you're
That
just
one
talking
just
about
has a
different
lot of
settings. Yeah. No, that's what I mean, like a different
settings.
yeah.
Well, actually, but Mutants and Masterminds itself is a whole different. It still bases off the D20,
Yes.
but the general mechanics and everything work a lot differently. It's not like setting up a D&D character.
Yeah, well, and
because you
right
don't have
now,
classes and this and that.
uh-huh.
It's very open-ended.
Yeah.
You can kind of create your character to be whatever you want.
Yes,
With all the advantages and flaws.
That's essentially what's going on with this other tabletop game that I'm playing called Cult Divinity Lost. And it's all focused around character arcs and character interaction and like interpersonal development. It's really like there is combat in it, but it is not. It's very, very far back, like not the focus. And yeah, it's very customizable, though I will say that it kind of encourages you to like just make a dude. I mean, you don't have to, but like when I was making it, and since I'm new to it, I was going for one of the archetypes that it had listed. I went for an academic archetype, and when I finished, I was like, "Hey, is this character going to be useful?" So, yep. I'm gonna go ahead and link one in the comments after the stream is done. So just give me a little bit after to close up the game and check back. If you checked your Discord, I would just, direct message you, but I know Discord is not easy to use for you, so I'll see what I can do to post it in the comments. So I mean, look, this is what this is for. This is for talking about D&D, having fun, doing all things related to roleplay and tabletop. So I'm, more than happy to do stuff like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and save here. Oh, the pupper woke up. Let's see if he'll let me sign off. Nope, he won't. He's demanding already. Let me go ahead and tuck the pupper back in because he's just so demanding. Yes, you're a demanding pupper. Here you go.
You're talking about a dog? You've got a dog?
She
Yes.
has a foster dog.
What kind of dog?
A Jack Russell mix.
Troublemaker.
The absolute troublemaker. That's all he is.
Yeah.
He's a little opportunist. If he can grab something off the floor that fits in his mouth, he'll grab it.
Yeah.
So,
I've got a troublemaker here, but he's not a Jack Russell.
oh yeah, what's yours?
Mine, well, it's all speculation actually. He was a stray, but we think he may be a boxer or boxer cross. He doesn't have the boxer snout, but apparently that can happen for boxers. He does have the boxer stature though, like he looks really boxery in his physique.
Yeah, I can
Okay,
see
then.
them.
Okay,
They're
then,
usually
naughty
pretty
doggy.
energetic.
Anyway, I can never
All right.
resist a little bit of dog talk.
Of course, of course. I totally get that. Oh, and we have Wolfo in the chat. So all my Discord notifications were on silent because of the streaming, so I couldn't see anything. But so what I'm gonna do? Uh-oh, did it? It should be showing. Why is it showing that? It should be showing the performance. There we go. Okay, it's showing the performance. Great. Okay, so I am going to do a quick sign off outro. So I want to thank everybody who joined us today. Thank you, Tilt, and goodness, we had a lot of people with us. We had Mark Reed, Dan, or Dr. Dan from Creation Myths. We had Ember, Left-Handed Jedi. I mean, Beck. I didn't get to say hi to Beck, unfortunately, but we also had
Was in the chat.
Montresor. Sorry?
Dave of the Captive Desk was in the chat.
Yes, Dave from Captive Desk. That's awesome. Very cool to have everybody with us. And I want to thank Andrew, Steven, Jester, and Wolfo for joining me in Discord currently. And I also would like to encourage everybody to please, before you leave, like the stream so that we can encourage more people to participate in future conversations. The more people we can get looking at even past streams, the more traffic we can get when we start off new streams in the future. You know, feed the dreaded algorithm monster and that sort of nonsense. You can also subscribe to be notified of when I next go live. So we typically go live on Thursdays and Mondays. So our next Game and Gab will be Monday at 9 p.m. Central. But if you want to hear me sooner, and Andrew and Jester and Wolfo, although you haven't heard Wolfo tonight, but you can on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Central when I stream our D&D sessions with the TTRPG group that I've made and the server that we based off of Ready to Roleplay. So you can join our growing RPG community server and I will put the link for the Ready to Roleplay Discord server here. This is a role-playing server, like strictly talks about role-playing campaigns, role-playing games, anything that has like anything to do with role play. And it's a community so that other people can join and find other people who are interested in role play and role playing games. We also have the Discord that I'm currently using the stage for, which is the Daily Atheist Media Network. This is a secular humanist, uh, server community. Um, and we we focus on, conserving human rights and promoting, um, you know, separation of church and state and uh, all that jazz. And although it does say it's the Daily Atheist Media Network, you don't have to be an atheist to join. You just have to be for, like equal rights and, you know, being a decent person. So, this is the secular humanist. You can also see the invite links listed at the bottom of the screen and on the stream right now. So I also have the Humanist Community server, the Fantasy RPG server that's ready to roleplay, and then also you can access my Blue Sky, which I'll occasionally add announcements and whatnot here. So last thing I believe is I'm gonna go through our panel that's with me and ask if they'd like to direct anybody to where people can find them or to highlight someone else. So starting from left to right, we're gonna go with Andrew. Is there anyone or anywhere you'd like to direct people to?
Well, yeah, again, join us on Thursdays for Dungeon Dragons. I am getting my shop set back up in Fourth Wall, so my various little side art pieces I do for myself will be up there as well for anybody for different merch things or even some whole image prints of stuff, as well as working on the Apostate Sisters. Me and Patty just need to kind of go over a few things, finalize a few things, accept everything, and we're ready to go on that one. L Truckers is the next one I'm going to be working on, and possibly if like some of the work that I'm doing, DJ Oz, because he needs some different merch stuff going on. Which I
Awesome.
made a really cool image just this other day. Freaking mixing the whole Mad Wizard and DJing it, put his face in it, and put him in a lab coat, and it looks pretty badass, I think.
That's awesome. Glad to hear it. So then we have Steven. Is there anything that you want to tell people to find you or highlight? If you can hear me, Steven.
Wow, I didn't realize I was muted. Okay, yeah, no, nothing to declare at this stage. Maybe in the future, but all speculative at this point.
Excellent. Well, I do appreciate you joining us. So thank you very much for sticking around.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Lastly, we have Jester up on stage. Anywhere you want to
Hi.
send people?
I cannot be found. I am unfindable. Go watch
said so.
Ember and Mark Reed and the transpositions for interesting stuff.
That's one I didn't link. I need to link the transpositions. I forgot about that. I'll link that in chat.
I honestly only just thought of them in the last 10 seconds. So
it's bad because I love their work, but I tend to just follow the individual creators instead of the actual like joint channel. So that's a that's my fault.
That doesn't sound like much of a fault there.
There we go. Yes, Jester seems to be present in pretty much every stream in the secular community.
I think I just happen to be in the same sphere as you generally.
Yes, I think we
I'm
tend
not
to
in
have
that
the same.
many streams.
Well, here's the real question. Have you ever been in multiple stream chats at the same time?
Ooh.
Yes.
Has anyone? Have you, Vic?
I have. Yep, I have.
Wow.
I've been.
That's achievement unlocked.
Yeah. Usually I'll be in like one stream chat that's like actively going, and then I'll have another one that's like the stream hasn't started yet, but it will, and the chat is already active. And I'll like jump in there and talk. Every now and then, I think there was actually one time I was in 3 different live chats. Two were streams, the other was like a stage thing like this, and I had obviously I couldn't have all 3 like the audio on. I had to mute 2 of them and just listen to one, otherwise I would have lost my mind. But
It's a challenge accepted at some future point, right?
just have all 3 going, try to figure it out, see what happens.
No, I couldn't. I wouldn't.
I'm simply, aspiring to a third of the omnipotence of Titan or pragmatic crystal.
Yeah. So Titan, I do
Or
catch him.
omnipresence, not omnipotence.
Yes,
Omnipresent.
omnipresent. I do catch Titan in quite a few spaces, but it might just be that my interests are closer to pragmatic crystals, or like our, sphere of friends is closer because I see her everywhere. So it's just every time I always see her, and she's always like, like dipping in and out of different live chats, and you know, just does like a spring of promoting everything, and then she'll jump to a different chat. Does a,
Nice.
huge spree of promotion for people. She's a pretty awesome mod. So yeah, so that's our panel. For everyone who made it this far, thank you for like wow, making it this far. It's not as bad as our 6-hour live stream, but considering how much rambling there's been, like I can totally get like not,
That was a good
wanting to.
ramble on D&D. I was having some nice nostalgia there from my teenage years.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, quite a bit. My throat's raw for sure.
Oh my,
So,
that's not good. Oh well. But mentals.
I'll wrap it up with thanking everybody for joining our chill open discussion. I know this is like a spicier topic, so given how spicy it was, I think that I think we had a pretty chill, uh, tranquil discussion, and
That's
a lot
what
of
we
people got
need.
to, yeah, like a everybody got to pitch in, and we still had fun, and I think. I think one of these days we're gonna have to do what Dan suggested, and um, try to map out the Bible as like a fantasy setting. Like, how would you set a tabletop role-playing game in the Bible? That sort of thing. I know it's been done. There was a DM who was like, I'm thinking of doing this where I set a TTRPG in the Bible.
Would you want to though? Like those stories are the stories I wanna purge from my memory. And they're awful. It's like
You
the
can also
worst
just play the video game.
conceivable. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah. So, you made it. I hope it provided a chance for you to think critically or like kick back and listen until you've like ready to fall asleep. Especially this last half. I'm sure we've got like 40 people dozing at this point, and that's why
Nice.
we're having like such a long, watch time because everyone just fell asleep. But we'll see you next
Fantastic.
Monday. And we're excited to see you at 9 p.m. Central next week. And don't forget that we do have that our D&D session this Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Central. And I'll see you next Monday when we can resume our game while we gab. So I hope everybody has a wonderful night and sweet dreams. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. No.
Bye.